crime. Oh, I need to move that off, and I need to bring this up, and I need to minimize that, and then I need to bring this here. Okay, evening, everyone. First, you're not first. You're not first, lad. Eze to Arsenal. Indeed, indeed. Eze to Arsenal. I need to make a an Instagram story, so leave me be. Right. The man has work to do, chat. Morena, everyone. What does that mean? Morena. What, making a TikTok video is cucking these days. People these days, jeez, yeah. Youths on here think they get everything from me. No. I finally went deaf. Yes. Quiet, Chris. Am I quiet? Is that what you're telling me? What we tell them? But I knew I was muted. Very quiet. No, I'm not, surely. Surely I'm not quiet. And I need to bring this up. What you're telling me? I'm not quiet. Like, what we tell them. But I knew I was muted. I'm not that quiet. I am not that quiet. That is not true. Is anyone else agreeing with this? I am not that quiet, am I? Audio is decrepit. Sounds fine to me. Yeah, I don't think I'm quiet. I think you must just have me on really quiet. Very quiet. No, I'm not, surely. I'm not that quiet. I am literally not that quiet. Like, I can listen to myself and I'm not that quiet. So the problem must be your end. I don't know. But that is not a me problem. Watching your stream whilst I pack. Watching my stream whilst you smoke that pack. That's what you should be doing. 100. Anatomy of a Fall. Never seen it. Stop gaslighting us, Chris. God, there's going to be a lot of gaslighting today. We've got a lot of cool things to talking about. Ethan and Hila being crazed, as always. Destiny messaging youths. Overzealots calling in. The Israeli military having their civilians combatant ratio leaked. Just so much great stuff to be talking about. So much awesome stuff. I have accidentally muted myself there. Jeffy Epi is my new vocal stim, but probably not cool to say out loud very often. I don't know. A lot of people liked him. I'm having some chai, which is mute. No, very quiet. Not that quiet. That is my new vocal stim, but probably not cool to say out loud very often. I don't know. A lot of people. Blessed by Cunslot on my birthday. Happy birthday. Dunno. Right. So I guess I don't really know how to structure today because we've got Overzealots calling in, and I've never had someone call in apart from Riverwand where I didn't really have like even sort of planned that at all. Whereas this one I'm trying to work on my video, and fuck me, working on a YouTube video and trying to do streaming all the time is not so easy, you know. I can see why most people pick one or the other, and normally it's streaming. What movie drama is there in the Discord? Well, that time I just knocked it with my finger. How good are you at Dota? I'm like, I haven't played much recently, but I'm like Legend 5 or Legend 4. So not very good at all. I used to be alright. But yeah, I guess let's just get into some Ethan Klein related slop. When in doubt, slop it out, get it out, and slop it about. So we've got some really cool reactions.
Many saying it's gone past.
By the way, I know why he doesn't report on us ever now. It's like,
okay, hold on. Sorry, let me just restart this so I can hear it.
Easy. But with many saying it's gone past.
By the way, I know why he doesn't report on us ever now. It's like,
you saying you realize why Philly D doesn't report on you all the time?
I'm being silly. Because I do, let's be honest, I do a meme where I always get mad at him. It's a joke. It's not serious. Although in this time I am being a little bit serious.
I was going to say the line probably.
Bad Empanada paraglided into the Klein house whilst holding 2 skulls. Wow, I'd never heard of that.
It's a little blurred for him.
but Hassan's
I
also
don't think
mad at him.
I think you're doing a joke. I don't think it's funny because I think I'm getting tired of this because people think that if they do say anything positive about us, they're like a Zionist. And I think
that's not what the problem is. Saying positive stuff about you people is crazy because you're Zionists. I don't care if people say positive stuff about you. That doesn't mean they're Zionists unless they're a fucking Zionist.
why Philly is avoiding talking about you unless there is like a 2 sides to it. And it's like on the one side you got Ethan, on the other you have Destiny. You tell me what you think. It's like, fuck off.
I could tell. Honestly, I was offended by when he called in on election night and his chat was just insane.
Does Ethan Klein have a bruise on his eyes, or is he wearing makeup?
Insane. With the Zionism, the fucking anti-Semitism, it was just unbelievable. And I don't remember how he reacted, but it's been weird since that. And it's like, I don't know. People don't want to stand up against anti-Semitism. They don't. Everybody wants to be anti-racist. Everybody wants to be this fucking this anti-racist hero who does everything right all the time. But the moment it actually costs anybody anything to actually stand up against racism, then all of a sudden it's I don't want to get involved.
It's so funny. This is such a funny statement to make because standing up against the slaughter of tens of thousands of Palestinians by a genocidal entity might lose you your job. You might go to prison. In the UK, if you support Palestine action, you can go to prison. But if you support Israel and bring an Israeli military flag everywhere, you get full police protection to do that. You're allowed to pay for speakers to blare out music singing "We Are the Champions" about how you've done genocide of millions of of tens of thousands of Palestinian people, and you're allowed to sing that, and you're allowed to do this stuff. Like, this is probably one of the worst takes I've heard out of this man, because literally, I'm pretty confident I saw this as a while. Look at this. Look at this. Anti-Semitism avoided the fate of anti-racism. So Trump did a wholesale attack on DEI. Like, literally, and the only things that remained were anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Like, you can literally read this article. Like, it's the only thing that remained. Like, it's truly unbelievable. Like, actually showing solidarity with Palestine is much more clearly the thing that will get you in trouble. But, like, literally wholeheartedly talking about anti-Semitism won't. Like, you could say anything about anti-Semitism and you won't get in trouble. It's millions. No, I don't think Israel has killed 1 million Palestinians. I mean, there are millions upon millions of Palestinians who have been victims of Zionism, but killing millions, I don't think Israel has ever reached that number of millions. It's in the 100,000s, though. People are asking, do I multi-stream? But no, I only stream on here. I understand why people in power defend Israel, but what does Ethan and others like him have to gain for it? Because ultimately the problem is there are loads of people who are just Zionists, and until you abandon Zionism, you're just always going to defend Israel. Like, that's it. That's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah, and the fact... Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to check out some clips of last night, because we'll do this straight away and then get it out of the way.
I've
Here you go.
always spoken against settlements before this motherfucker even knew what that was. Okay? I've always been against it. So shut the fuck up, Hassan, and go learn something before you talk about other people's business.
Also, by the way, if you support Israel, you are not against settlements. If you offer any sympathy to the state of Israel, settlements were first established under a Labour Israeli government. They weren't established under Netanyahu. They were hidden behind the guise of Israel needs security. They're not going away with anyone. They're not going away with anyone who is close to proximity and power in Israel. 12,000 Palestinians fought the Nazis. Yeah, I mean, Overzealots had that in his video. I mean, it's true, but like, it doesn't matter what the Palestinians did. Israel was always destined to treat them this way. That was always what it was going to do. Occupy Palestine. Yeah, I mean, she did live her whole life in settlements, so.
He's not into learning.
Yeah, 100%. It's such an egregious thing to say because, like, even if you're like, well, I did mandatory military service. Ethan was saying that he was proud of what she did, and you are literally serving the settlements. It's like when Lonabox was trying to moralize it and be like, the raid wasn't actually illegal and may have been legal. And it's just like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you actually talking about here?
The other thing that I wanted to say is that now when people say, oh, she just did mandatory service, he's like, oh, no, it was way more than mandatory. She volunteered to go into raids. She participated
in this raid.
No.
That's the raider of Ramallah.
It was just mandatory service.
Yeah, you were a secretary and you went on a ride-along.
And I was a secretary.
Like, literally, there you go. Ethan just said it. Ethan just said, you went on a ride-along one time, and she said, I didn't do that.
Don't rewrite history. I'm not going to sit by and let people rewrite what I did and what is my life. It was mandatory service, and I was a secretary. Well, 20 years ago.
And by the way, I know you've all seen my video, most likely, but I literally pulled up clips of her saying that, like, it's selfish to refuse service, like acting as if the people who aren't serving are the people in the wrong. It's kind of crazy to listen to what they have to say now about all of this stuff when you can like so freely find what they've said on the internet. But as I said in my video, when you've put your life online for so many years, like what's the expectation? People are always going to catch you in these stupid lies.
Now I'm an American citizen. You got a problem? I've and against settlements, it was like it was she volunteered to go.
Been according.
There was some other stuff from this. Let me see. Even if she was a secretary, she's still complicit. 100%. I mean, Bad Empanada makes this point. If you were a secretary in ISIS, people would not be like, oh, that's fine. That's fine. Like, you were literally a secretary for an apartheid regime. And you said that it was more fun when you got to go to the West Bank. Like, you literally said that. Like, she literally says in that video, yeah, it was I did it because I was bored at the original job. And I was like, oh, I could have found a way out of it. She could have found a way out of it. She even said that herself. But, you know, I just don't, I don't think anything matters to these people. I think they'll just say and do whatever they can. Because they can, you know, they can. Oh, I should have mentioned...
I saw a video this morning came out.
I just want to see if I can find what I was looking for.
Tell me in the comments.
Speaking of Philly D, he's gonna get blasted the fuck out.
In fact, I didn't see it.
Right, this is the other
his reaction. I heard Hassan was very upset by this video.
I was too. Well, that's just because
it sounds like he's doing a job.
Because Hassan's a crybaby bitch boy, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I mean, Ethan, you are the definition of a crybaby bitch boy. I think that is the only way to describe this man. Because this man is literally someone who believes that people were holding a bleach sword as a dog whistle, something he doesn't actually even really believe, because he was saying that in the debate. But like he'll now just sit there and call Hassan that when Destiny was literally like, someone should kill Hassan. Like, doesn't this make Hassan should be killed? And he'll be like, Destiny, I have nothing to do with Destiny. I think he says it here, but like sat in front of Destiny's business partner's button.
Like he has to be the victim.
Okay.
And he successfully made himself the victim, and Philip DeFranco was an accomplice in that.
Look it up.
So is that the slight that you're talking about, or are you talking about?
What kind of savage, primitive government would enforce mandatory service? SMH. Yeah, especially also speaking about it positively. When you have so many Israeli soldiers who literally are just like, you know, ending their own lives. And I'm not expecting you to feel sorry or like say, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened to them. What I'm saying is that like it clearly has a negative backlash, which is also expressed through all the different kinds of violence, particularly sexual violence and domestic abuse that's present in Israel as a result of it.
The thumbnail.
Well, the thumbnail didn't help.
Okay, so we don't care that much about the thumbnail.
He took the only Jewish person out of the.
This guy is so funny. This guy has got to be the best member of the crew. This Zach guy, he is so fucking funny. He chimes in and he's like, "This is literally just the worst thing to ever happen ever. They took the only Jew out of the thumbnail."
Just
ADL, where you at?
I'm just saying, dog.
ADL.
Some
Listen,
anti-sup medics.
he's doing the AB test. The test is still ongoing. It sounds like.
Don't bring AB into this. He didn't have anything to do with it.
You know what?
Feels innocent. He passed the
You
test.
know what I'm saying.
AB didn't decide to take the only Jewish creator out of the.
Well, someone said that Hassan was upset with him too.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah, Hassan was upset.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
I feel like this Zach guy should be like reprimanded for indulging Ethan's delusions.
I'm gonna show
He's
you
not
guys,
pleasing anybody.
Poor Phil.
because he's a fucking.
Yeah, and that makes me feel really bad.
Which is why you gotta grow a spine.
No,
You're never
Get
gonna
off the
please
bed!
everybody.
Stop throwing it to everybody.
Stop
Keep it
asking
for
the
yourself,
comments what
bro.
I think. Tell me what you think, Philly.
This is it. We're not playing frisbee.
I
Stop
like that.
tossing it off.
I like that he throws it back to me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
like
it.
that too.
Nobody
Frankly,
wants it.
nobody
I can't believe. Yeah.
Nobody wants
Okay,
it.
how many times have you gone to the comments, Dan, and shared your opinion?
Also, weren't they saying a few days ago that they're just going to do like goofs and gaffs and like funny things? Thank you, Sunflower, again. Ninhotep, that's another classic. The gift memberships have really hit recently, people who are in here all the time, which is crazy. I actually made it for the live today. Nice. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the live.
Every single episode.
Exactly.
That he's on.
How many of you have ever gone to the comments
Every time he
and
invites me
taken
to.
and shared your opinion?
I do it for every news story. It's like, here's what I thought about this news story. Then I watch, and I'm like, here's what I thought about this one.
Do you think his wife goes, "Fill me up, daddy"?
This is just a weird comment. I saw people highlighting it. It is definitely really fucking weird. It's just an odd thing to say. I just don't really see why you're saying it, like, just talking about someone's wife. It's just unusual, but, like, Ethan is completely sex obsessed.
I don't want to speculate about that. I have too much respect for the man.
I'm gonna pass the question up to you.
What do you think that I'm thinking?
Chat.
But this is, and remind you, this is all because I wouldn't go camping with him.
Right.
Campton and Hila Klein Destiny situation. It was one of the most
No.
requested stories. Or
So I'm not,
No. They mentioned Destiny. No, his best friend. He is sponsoring my button.
come on, Destiny has nothing wrong.
This is not a triangle situation, Philly.
Hassan made an insane
It's not.
comment, making it sound like Hila is a war criminal who escaped accountability. she's a war criminal who needs to be punished.
I think it's just such a disgrace to it to call it a situation.
Bro, this guy, Zach is gold. Like, he just comes in and he's like, bro, it's a disgrace to call it a situation. What are you fucking talking about, bro? It's you and your freaky little friend, Dan Saltman, overhyping something to try and get Hassan deplatformed, which is literally the sole goal in your entire fucking life at this point. You like, just spend some time with your kids, bro.
You know? Like,
Is it- yeah.
Yeah, it's not a situation. Destiny has nothing
Kalel, no! Philip DeFranco, no!
to do with what Hassan did to me. I don't know anything about what Destiny did. This is not a three-way
I didn't
situation.
even know anything about this. Apparently, Destiny,
Live through this. Thank you for becoming a member.
in response to Hassan's essentially calling Hila a valid military target, I guess Destiny, who's a total fucking dumbass, who again we had like a flawless victory here, and this dumbass went there and made him.
We had a flawless victory. I was gonna win some propaganda and get Hassan in trouble, and then it's literally just like, bro, what are you fucking talking about? You are sat in front of Anna's now a member as well. Crazy. I think you might have to be on desktop, to be honest, to send memberships, but he's sat in front of Destiny's business partner's button.
Gave Hassan the ability to cry and be the victim,
Right.
Which he did. Now he's been on his Instagram stories being like, "Oh my god, I'm getting death threats, you guys.
Yeah.
What do we get? This is unbelievable. We need to do something about it." It's like, "Oh, you don't like it when people give death threats to you?"
Pathetic.
That's fucking really interesting, dude. But because of Destiny's dumb fucking ass, he went on Discord, and he said something like, somebody should kill Hassan Piker. Just something brazenly insane.
Which is not what Hassan said about you, and yet he's reading it out. He reads out what he says. Someone should kill Hassan Piker versus Hassan talking about the fact that Israeli soldiers and settlers in the West Bank are valid military targets because of the fact that they're an occupying force, and settlers help to enforce that. And settlers are literally in the process of destroying Palestinian land and taking away, you know, Palestinian land. They are in an aggressive position. I've not heard of June. I've never heard of that person, June the King. I don't know who they are or what they're up to.
And I have nothing to do with what Destiny says.
Yeah. Well,
someone else also pointed this out. I saw a video. I don't know who the person was, but they were like, literally, all Ethan now does is get his talking points from Destiny and Dan Saltman, who are messaging him about this stuff. Dan Saltman, who literally sponsors his button so he doesn't say something insanely racist on live, although he missed it the other day when he rapped the N-word. But, like, this man just sits here and, like, pretends that he has nothing to do with Destiny. Your entire orbit is just Destiny fans now, really.
well, apparently he's my closest collaborator, if you ask. He's hiding under the desk.
If
No, but
Destiny
it's
was
like-
my roommate,
It's like, yeah.
Hold on. Hassan has something to say.
Oh.
Also, he's very good at skirting responsibility. He's never going to be like, somebody should have done this to Hila. Like, he's extremely adept at stochastic terrorism. Which
ChatGPT taught Ethan a new word, and now he's saying it quite a bit. Congratulations, Mr. Klein. Virgil became a member. Nice. Thank you. Shout out, Virgil.
is using language that is likely to incite violence against someone just by the statistical odds of somebody in your audience being crazy enough to do it. He is a stochastic terrorist. Straight up.
So also, surely, Ethan, you would be a stochastic terrorist because you said that you wanted to see Ben Shapiro killed during the, exterminated during the, during a second extermination of Jewish people. And also, you called for the NRA to be bombed. So you are even more than a stochastic terrorist. You are just a terrorist.
Like that crazy fucking DC, you know? It's like people like this are promoting that kind of behavior.
100%.
Absolutely.
So good to see Zach chime in. Thanks, Zach. Thank you, Zach. Zach will one day be in court for endorsing paranoid delusions.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that guy watched Hassan.
No, I don't know.
I mean,
behavior like that.
Would you be surprised? Though?
Not at all.
No.
Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised if he's watched Hassan or knows about Hassan.
If anything, I'd be like, oh, checks out.
But yeah, but behavior like that, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I never said somebody should go kill him. I just said she's a valid military target. Okay, great. Anyway, go ahead, Philly. Tell me about how this is somehow a crazy situation.
And then we have a final piece of absolute art from these guys.
Right.
Hold on, I'll see if I can find it on YouTube because this version's really blurry and I don't know why. Ah, fuck me. Sorry, it's taking a while to load. Right, here we go.
Right.
It's not.
The only reason to bring Destiny into it is to turn Hassan into a sympathetic character. This whole thing is about him trying to get Hila fucking killed, which, by the way, nobody wants it.
I can't believe. Yeah.
Nobody wants
Okay,
it.
how many times you gone to the comments, Dan, and shared your opinion?
Every single episode
Exactly.
that he drops.
How many of you have ever gone to the comments
Every time he
and
invites me
taken
to.
and shared your opinion?
I do it for every news story. It's like, here's what I thought about this news story.
No, I haven't done the IDF leak.
Then I watch, and I'm like, here's what I thought about this one. It's fun. It's so interactive.
You've
should
never
start
done it,
doing
Nate.
that.
Don't lie.
Yes,
to
I
me.
do. Yes, I do, bro. Come on.
I know you're lying.
some conviction.
Anyway, so he took me at a thumbnail, but it's called the Ethan Klein Hassan Piker Destiny Situation.
Wait, why has it got this bar at the bottom?
It's crazy.
I already got pissed when I saw that title
Right.
because it is not and Ethan Klein, like
hold
a
on.
destiny situation. Not like just going into anybody's home and just like terrorizing them.
The big thing with the PA, it was during the second Intifada, and also gave justice. You know, she could have been killed. She should have been killed then. That would have been fine. She escaped justice. You know, she's a criminal.
Which is
she
all
committed
wrong.
a crime. She's a criminal.
He's wrong with everything that he said.
Yeah, I don't even think it was illegal.
I don't.
There's a good chance it was in.
I mean, it's still to enforce an illegal occupation of the West Bank. That is why the raid happened. Like, all of these people who keep, like, saying, like, well, how do we know whether it was illegal? Bro, you are engaging in a raid. You are a secretary to uphold a military regime of occupation in the West Bank that humiliates and mass murders Palestinians.
Collaboration with the PA. It was during the.
That doesn't make it any better. And also, by the way, it was after the second Intifada. But by like, if you look at Hila's age, it would have had to have been after the second Intifada, unless she was in there when she was 17. But I thought she was 18. So.
Second Intifada, and also, according, I went back and watched the story because I was curious. I didn't listen to it in a while. You say you went into someone's house, found weapons there.
Not what was said in the story.
Illegal weapons, and then.
Well, how Israel goes into Ramallah is through this thing called hot pursuit, where they can basically pursue anyone. So theoretically, in order for it to be legal, they would have to know that the guy had weapons in his house, not to find them there. I don't actually know. Israel. Hot pursuit policy. It's actually apparently what they use to get Iceman under the hot pursuit policy, which is crazy to hear. But yeah, basically what it is this thing is like how Israel basically... Right, this is a Wikipedia article. Rather than pursuing blah, 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 changing the nature of relations with specifically reserving the right of hot pursuit anywhere within the Palestinian territory, as well as attempting to promote alternatives to Arafat's leadership. So it's basically just them. I mean, it's hard to understand because this is some Israeli bullshit made up by their fucking lawyers to just get away with doing crimes.
Took the weapons out and arrested the guy. We don't know
and
that was illegal.
They were going on arrest of specific
Does anyone know why this thing's at the bottom?
people that they knew were either involved in something or, you know, they have intel, and they were going on specific raids of specific people. These are not like just...
But also, by the way, if this was during the second Intifada, whilst Israelis were always like, the second Intifada is so traumatic for us. Motherfucker, you killed 4 times the amount of Palestinians, 4,000 Palestinians, regularly enforced curfews, closed schools, did all of these barbaric things to Palestinian society and Palestinian people, humiliated them, and just did heinous shit to them, you know? I'm not zoomed in on YouTube, no. Like, look, it's 100%. I have no idea why it's there. If you can't, you can see it, I think. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Going into anybody's home and just like terrorizing them.
The big thing that makes them all scumbags. During the second Intifada, the PA, there was a lot of organizing and...
He's just learned about the Palestinian Authority. By the way, Palestinians fucking hate the PA. And also, the Palestinian Authority has literally arrested Palestinians for condemning... Just some kids were arrested for doing graffiti, I believe in like 2000 and late 2010s, for doing graffiti that was against collaboration.
Coordinating with the IDF to help pick up dangerous people. Dangerous people.
And also, by the way, Israel, the Palestinian Authority also engaged in an extra-legal, undemocratic crackdown on Hamas. Anyone associated with Hamas was like, they dismissed thousands of people who like gave sermons that were allegedly sympathetic to Hamas. It was definitely extra-legal.
That the PA...
She's got... You're all mentioning the stickers on her thing, but a fork found in kitchen would be a better thing. But yeah, like, fuck the Palestinian Authority. Just because you're collaborating with them to oppress Palestinians doesn't mean anything positive.
They deem dangerous and criminal, right? So that's not illegal. That's literally not illegal. And when Hassan talks about it, he's like,
but the occupation is illegal, and upholding and participating in that is wholly barbaric, because nothing that the Palestinians do compares to occupying hundreds of thousands of people. Millions of people. Nothing the Palestinians do compares to a barbaric regime of humiliation that Israel institutes over all Palestinians.
They go into these houses, they drag people out by their feet during the nighttime in the bed, and the wife and the kids are screaming.
By the way, they definitely were doing this during the Second Intifada, because, hold on. And there was no mention of guns in the original story, I don't think. So this is from a report by Broken Lives Amnesty. Over the following months, the vast majority of those arrested came from the occupied territories. The number of those arrested was difficult to determine. In July 2001, an Israeli general announced that about 1,000 Palestinians were arrested during the Intifada. Those held were arrested in the course of riots or clashes with the police, or during the raids of Palestinian quarters, villages or towns, mostly in areas A, B, and C. Some people were arrested during police forays into Area A. Others were arrested at checkpoints or when entering or leaving the country. Sometimes the reason for the arrest was unknown, and detainees were held for weeks or months with vague or no clear reason. Fuck this. Like, honestly, people who run defense for this are barbaric. People who run defense for any of this, and like, well, actually, there's sometimes where it's legal. Bro, on the whole, it is a system of humiliation and illegal, just arbitrary arrest of Palestinians to be tortured. Beaten, and all of these things. Well, I'm amazed. I don't, to be honest, the Second Intifada is not my area of expertise, like, at all. But what I do know with all of this is that it is barbaric, and it is totally unjust. And if you are in any way seeking to obfuscate, you are justifying a regime of pure violence and barbarism against the Palestinian people. 600 watching and only 170 likes. Oh, get off. I don't even know why I do this anymore. Like the stream, guys.
And then it's like they punch the kids in the face. It's like, listen, it's a night raid. It's not good.
Also,
they punch the kids. Yes, they do punch the kids in the face. What the fuck do you mean? That's what Israeli soldiers do. And you sitting here, even if, okay, let's say Hila didn't do anything like that. You sitting here and belittling and demeaning the idea that that is something that is happening is so shitty and horrifying. Like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, it's so utterly ridiculous, because that shit does happen, and yet you're just demeaning it and acting as if it fucking doesn't.
When he says that we were valid targets, we were shot at. The Jeep that I was in, as soon as we entered that area, they shot at the Jeep and a bullet hit right here next to my head. But
because you were in illegally occupied land. How am I meant to feel fucking sorry for you? You chose to go on this raid. You are in their illegally occupied land. Exactly what Hassan was pointing out. I mean, it's the same with fucking, like, I mean, the article I'm going to talk about, by the way, is that Israel's combatant to civilian ratio has been leaked. And what it suggests from the Israeli military's own data, and this is, by the way, anything published in Israel like this has to be checked by the military censor. And what it says is that 83% of those killed, looking at a death toll of 53,000, were members of Hamas. And by the way, just quickly, look at this compared to other wars. So Mariupol is like one episode, which is particularly violent and should definitely be condemned. But it's 95. On the whole, that is nowhere near the average death toll of Ukraine. Look at Ukraine, 10% civilians on the whole. Gaza, 2023. That would be like comparing one specific instant, like the siege of Gaza City, which may have had a death toll of civilians of that high. But, by the way, the amount of people probably killed is, I would say, I would hazard a guess closer to 90% that are civilians. I would genuinely just guess that, because if this is what Israel's own figures are suggesting, and you're not talking about, like, wider deaths from the destruction of hospitals, starvation, denial of medicine, the denial of people being able to have, you know, like surgery, healthcare, all of these things, I think it's much higher. And you're talking, what you are comparing here, especially Rwanda, Srebrenica, and Gaza, those are all genocides. Srebrenica is already recognized as a genocide. Rwanda is recognized as a genocide. And what they also noted is that, she says it here, you see, civilians made up greater proportion of the dead only in Srebrenica, although not the Bosnian War overall, in the Rwandan genocide and during the Russian siege of Mariupol. Like, this is unique. And it is, in all of those, they are condemned by the West. This is unequivocally supported by Western nations. And so for all of these people who spend their time going, well, actually, yeah, Israel's not that bad. Israel's not doing things that are that bad. When you're looking at statistics like this, which are not including the full scale of the death, and you are seeing so high, why you would run defense for this barbarism is beyond me. And it's shitty, but it's just money. I mean, Ethan doesn't care about money. He's just genuinely committed to the Zionist project.
Jeep was bulletproof. So, like, yeah. Okay.
Hila Klein just is reminding me of this song right now.
I'm a liberal guy, but sometimes kids gotta die.
The fact that you are giving these vile Zionists part of attention is part of the issue. I mean, Ethan Klein would have this attention without me. I understand. It's why I don't like stitch like random Zionists on TikTok, like people who ask me to. But people who have huge amounts of attention, people who have huge platforms, people who constantly lie like this, who bring attention to what I am talking about, to the stuff here, to an article that people who are more interested in the drama may not actually fucking see or care about, is kind of why I end up doing these things.
I saw a free parking sign, thought it said free Palestine. But a Zionist Jew, born and raised with Western views, yeah? This is self-defense, so get your neck off of me, boo, please. Ain't it? Israeli, none of your business.
Just that bit, like that bit of him talking about this. That bit of him talking about this. Of just him saying, get your neck off me, boot. It's like Hila just trying to make you feel sympathetic that someone shot a fucking armoured car in illegally occupied land.
You what? This is my land. You can tell by me accent. Yeah. My homeland is threatened. I'm from the MENA via Western, and my white skin is reddened because the sun is anti-Semitic. Arabs say guys, make all them ladies them cover their face.
You know what's really funny is this Lee Cohen guy is fucking insane. Like 100%. This guy's like genuinely one of the most depraved propagandists that you can fucking find. But at the same time, have we not heard like Ethan talking about similar stuff to this?
It's a disgrace because we love the gays. And if you don't like us, I hope you get AIDS, bitch. I'm a good guy, I'm a good guy, I'm a good guy, I'm a bad guy now. Arabs are genetically predisposed to hating women. If you don't believe me, you're a fucking twat, you are. And I hope Hamas finds you, yeah? And I hope they corner you on the street, and I love all people. You could tell because I drew a heart with the dreads of me tank. I respect.
That was the bit I was thinking of most. That was the bit I was thinking of most, where he says, where he was talking about, I drew a heart with the treads of me tank. Hila was just drawing a heart. She was in the West Bank, showing love in her bulletproof vehicle.
Dope cultures, but you better be like the West or you're gonna get banked. Ain't stripped, lit up, split up, British shit, set up, Jewish settlements. Pick up TikTok, do a dance, but that ain't me though. Haven't I always been right by your side? Whether you're black, purple, yellow or white. Even support the creation of free Palestine, I say. Pico, cut it, run it, done it, go. Good or bad, it's hard to tell. Going fast for Israel. BB is bad. Yeah. Wish he was gone so peace could be had, but this is a war, yeah? So I support him like he was my dad, or maybe me nan. I love me nan. I am against the occupied lands, but I trust the plan. So I'ma defend it as long as I can. These Arabs are racist. It's not a wall, it's a quarantine shit, it's contagious. It's not a genocide, it's a vaccine, it's containment, yeah.
I just love that song. I love that song, especially because Lee Kern is so fucking funny. I can't believe that guy made Borat or was part... Well, I can believe it, but I just can't believe that that guy was anywhere near fucking, like... something like that, you know?
Also, your secretary, you went on one ride-along just out of curiosity of what your friends were going through when they were...
Bro, sometimes I'm curious about what's going on in the colonies. I went on one little trip to you know... to British India. I saw some starving people. I shot one with a rifle. It was fine. We arrested, you know, some guy. He was starving. He was begging for food, but we arrested him. I was curious.
Went there.
Yes.
You served in the army for 2 years. You went one time. The rest of your time, you were a secretary. You never.
I was curious to see what they do. Call me a journalist if you want, Hassan. But I actually went boots on the ground.
That's more journalist.
That bit is so good. I went boots on the ground. Bro, boots in the occupied land. She showed love. She just doing journalism. She was finding about what the IOF are doing by going into the West Bank and doing it. You know, she was learning on the job about, you know, so one day she could do even better Hasbara. She knew that 20 years later she would have a platform to do this.
I'm like, you're a pussy ass bitch, Hassan.
You only think about going to the West Bank.
Girl is fine.
She's been there.
Hassan can't go to the West Bank. Hassan could not go to the West Bank. Like, these people are so funny. Like, all these people who tell me you should come to Israel. The only way I could come to Israel is if I framed it as, oh, I've actually changed my views. And even then, I wouldn't be allowed to go because of the shit I've posted on the internet.
You've only fantasized about it.
Yeah.
Who is actually considering genuinely going to Gaza.
I know, man. That's a pretty big deal.
I have to say, I know it's in the doc, but the fact that Twitch did nothing.
Yes.
Yes.
Bro, every time he speaks, it's quality. This guy, this Zach guy, I love him. Zach, you know, you're welcome on the show anytime. And also that, by the way, sorry, I missed a super chat previously. That definitely was a joke. You raid Ramallah once and all of a sudden you're the raider of Ramallah. Give your letterbox link. People have found my letterbox previously. It's not that hard to find. I haven't watched anything in ages. I reached out to Bad Hasbara ages ago. Matt didn't follow me then, but Matt now follows me, so I may try reaching out to Matt, but I'd love to.
Is unlevel amount of despicable.
Zero surprise to me.
That is
despicable.
Disgusting.
That's why I'm telling people. I said it in the video, but if you didn't see it, Twitch is demonstrably complicit and will do nothing to stop this.
Yes.
That's why we need to focus on the sponsors. They're the only ones that can do something. And
it's really hard to focus on your sponsor, you know, but, you know, your sponsor has a business and, like, a podcast with, who's he got a business and a podcast with, Ethan? Who's the person he's got one with? Someone messaging youths? I haven't seen the Charlie Kirk Cambridge thing. I know that Tilly person now makes videos and has got quite a big platform. She seems quite interesting. She said some stuff about, like, maybe voting Labour, but I don't know. She seems like generally a very nice person. I also think, I think debates are just entertainment, by the way. I don't think that they're, like, a good way to get your point across. And I think that, like, you know, ultimately debates are just... You can show people how to address, like, Zionist propaganda and be more confident in rejecting Zionist propaganda, which I think is good. But, like, as a medium to show whose position is right, they're not actually going to do that much. Because you could do however in a debate, and the people who love you will still love you.
AT&T recently told Ludwig, do not...
Yeah, Kick is a legitimate platform where people get, you know, just happen to get, like, beaten up by some friends for money on stream, like, over and over again for a prolonged period, and then they die, but it's a legitimate platform.
Have Hassan in your videos. We will not do this if Hassan's in the videos. Great. I love AT&T. I'm switching now. They call me. Can you hear me now, guys? Switch to AT&T, right?
No,
that's Verizon.
But then he went to Sprint.
No, didn't he jump from Verizon to?
I think he did jump from Verizon, but I don't think it was to AT&T.
He's on Sprint. He's on Sprint.
Yeah, he don't fuck with AT&T.
You know what AT&T stands for? All tits and times of good and mirth. Let me try that.
Who said the goose and gap? Gaps wasn't here. Who said that that's gone?
Yeah. All titties.
All-time tits. That was a hashtag on the Jamie Lee Curtis video.
All-time
tits.
Tits?
Tits.
Ethan?
All-time tits?
Ethan? It stands for the American Telephone and Telegraph Company.
Oh, that was my second guess.
Tips
That
are
sounds
fun.
pretty good. This is all American, baby. And that's why they left Hassan.
Yeah, I just don't know why you're...
You can go to Israel and see it as a really nice place, to which I respond, I went speeding on an interstate way past 90 miles per hour, and the police was super nice. Has to do with my white blonde ass. Oh, I see. One of the saddest bits is in Lahane when he's like, didn't you take a girl to Israel and drive around in a Mercedes Benz? And did not like that.
You're on the wrong street, cuz.
Spreading this misinformation about the tits thing.
You're right. What I said is worse. This is the all-American telephone company.
Right.
Just American. There's no all in there.
No, I'm describing them.
It's called the American...
God, this is so boring, just talking about what AT&T stands for. What do you think they're going to talk about next? What BP stands for?
Telephone and Telegraph Company.
Great.
So, basically, me thinking about this whole thing, like, he could start calling me a journalist instead of calling me a terrorist.
He could, yeah.
I also just think it's so funny how they show absolutely no sympathy for what they've done. Like, they show no sympathy for anything that they've done. Sorry, yeah, someone sent me a tweet. I didn't get shot.
Just
And
saying.
I mean, you did report it to a massive audience. You came back and you reported on the raid to 1.4 million people. Hassan's only fantasized about it. All he does is read tweets all day.
You're getting
He gets
you're
his
getting
news
real
on
bad
Twitter.
reviews, by the way, from the
X.
chat on that joke.
Yeah, I wasn't good. I'll be the first to admit. all time, a tubular time. A tubular time, Dan.
Sure. Yeah, I like tubular times. Yeah,
We're having a
Let's have
good time over
tubular ass time.
AT&T. So anyway, I personally think Philip DeFranco's a Hassan Dick writer. He's never reporting on his controversies. He's always reporting on him the most favorable way, which is what he did here today. But let's take a look. Now,
Once again, no one will ever touch what Ethan is doing. Like, ever touch what Ethan is doing.
when I saw this, I was like, great. This is the one time I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was my wife got a death threat.
We didn't do anything wrong.
Didn't do anything, right?
And it's a continuous death threat and a smear campaign because he does it all the time, regularly.
Well, he doubles down in his response, which isn't here, which we need.
The response to Philly?
Yeah, there's the clip of Hassan watching the clip of Hassan getting filled in. Do you think his wife goes, "Fill me up, daddy"?
We've seen that bit, and I don't want to hear Ethan do that again.
Anyway, here's Philly.
This is Hassan Piker, Ethan and Hila Klein Destiny situation. It was one of the most requested stories.
No!
So I'm not. Hold on.
You are right. It does actually sound like a Kal-El no.
There's nothing wrong.
This is not a triangle situation, Philly.
Hassan made an insane
It's not.
comment, making it sound like Hila is a war criminal who escaped accountability. She's a war criminal who
I mean, if you participate in an illegal occupation, you are very much a war criminal, I think. But like, you're such a small cog in it, and the problem is all of Israel is, so you're never going to be fucking held to account. But I do think you have to be de-radicalized and removed from Zionism.
needs to be punished.
I think it's just such a disgrace to it to call it a situation.
I think I just want to watch Zach talk all day about this. He's a very good guy.
You know, like,
yeah, it's not a situation. Destiny has nothing to do with what Hassan did to me. I don't know anything about what Destiny did. This is not.
I feel like when you've indulged his campaign, you know,
not a three-way
I
situation.
don't even know anything about this. Apparently, Destiny, in response to Hassan's essentially calling Hila a valid military target, I guess Destiny, who's a total fucking dumbass, who again, we had like a flawless victory here, and this dumbass went there and gave Hassan the ability to cry and be the victim,
right.
Which he did. Now he's been on his Instagram story being like, oh my god, I'm getting death threats, you guys.
Yeah.
What do we get? This is unbelievable. We need to do something.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm kind of just waiting to finish this in 5 minutes, and then Overzealots will be calling in.
About it. It's like, oh, you don't like it when people give death threats to you?
Pathetic.
That's fucking really interesting, dude. But because of Destiny's dumb fucking ass, he went on Discord.
Zach is so eloquent.
In his Discord, and he said something like, somebody should kill Hassan Piker. Just
hold on 1 second. I think we may have Overzealots, and now, yeah. He's good to call in too. Okay, we'll get him on it. Okay.
something brazenly insane. For the record, I don't believe anybody should do violence on his son.
Stupid and crazy, and we would never say anything like that. And I have nothing to do.
But Destiny's in your community, bro, and he's like a big member of your community whose BFF sponsors your button.
With what Destiny says.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's my closest collaborator, if you ask. He's hiding under the desk.
If Destiny was my roommate.
It's like, yeah.
Hold on. Hassan has something to say.
Oh.
If Destiny was my roommate, I'd get him laid all the time.
Oh.
Right, because you're a bro.
I think the problem is that Hassan doesn't know many children.
Now that's closeness.
Oh, he's a self-admitted GRD, which makes him lightheaded and in a haze at all times. So he takes uppers. What is GRD? Is that the thing to do with like acid reflux? Because I think I actually had that last year or something similar, and it was pretty unpleasant. One of my favourite stories is there was this morning where I slipped down the stairs and I just ate a smoothie and I just kept coughing until I was just, it was awful. I just fell down the stairs and I was just sick. It was just one of the weirdest mornings of my life.
That's the kind of closest. That should be weird. But anyway, so yeah, he said something really dumb. And for the record, I don't, even though Hassan is a Hamas propagandist, I do not believe that is even a crime. Okay, he's exercising free speech, which is totally fine.
Is it, Ethan?
Now, what certain social media companies do about it is, or advertisers, this is not an issue of free speech. But I don't think anyone should do violence on Hassan, or even that he should be arrested or anything, right? He's not doing any crimes. He's expressing his opinion, and it's a fucked up one, right? Also, he's very good at skirting responsibility. He's never going to be like, somebody should have done this to Hila. Like, he's extremely adept at... Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's put a cork in watching Ethan Klein do slop. And I'll put on... Right. Hello? Yes, I will check whether everyone can hear you in a second. I am now gonna mess around for a second and see if... I'll ask what everyone is saying. Does it sound good, everyone? And now I just need to mess around with my camera. Hold on. There we go. Right. Here we go. There we go. All good. All good. 1 second. Let me just... Right. Here we go. Right. Friend of the show, Overzealots. Indeed. Indeed. I featured in an Overzealots video, so I must be at least a decent friend, you know. Can everyone hear him? Can't hear him. No audio. He's gone. Okay, right. What's the issue here? Desktop audio. No audio. Fuck. Okay, right, guys. Sorry, I'll fix this. I can help with OBS. People are just telling me they can help with OBS. I can hear you, so I'm wondering why it can't hear you. Options, voice, and video. They can see you at least, which is good. Why can't it hear you? Desktop audio. Why would it not be able to hear you, but it could hear everything else? Fuck. Wait, I have an idea. If it's not working, here's an... Hold on. Right. Can you speak? Fuck. Okay, try again. The thing is that like last time it was working, but now this time it seems to be having issues. I have no. Yeah, I can hear you. Make sure you are sharing the application, not the window. Sharing the application. What? How do I share the application? Oh, fuck. Here we go. Okay, speak now.
Check, test.
There we go.
It's working?
Yeah. Let me just check, because it should work.
Hell
yeah. I think it should be working. Sorry.
All right.
There we go. People are saying,
yeah.
there we go.
There we go.
No?
Perfect.
Yes? Let's go. Yeah, I think they can hear you. So, how you doing?
Okay, cool. Good, man. How are you? I caught like the last few minutes of the stream before I called in.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff going on.
I mean, it's always interesting. I mean, I just find it very interesting, sort of just a total unwillingness to confront anyone's videos, like yours, mine, which are clearly not coming from positions of people who, hate Jewish people, who just have like some unreasonable obsession with Ethan or anything, that are just like, I mean, how I see it, someone in the chat was like, you shouldn't platform Ethan, but Ethan has bigger platforms than us both, and the whole point is using it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was originally my position. Like for the longest time, I didn't say a thing about it because I was like, this guy, it's just kind of like, he's so much bigger than I will probably ever be, and he's spewing that to so many people that just take his word for it. And I have a really close friend, like a real life friend who was a big fan of his. And the reason the moment I realized like, okay, maybe more people should be calling this out, is when I was hanging out with her, and she was kind of like pushing back on some of the things I was saying about Israel Palestine, and she was taking the more liberal Zionist approach and saying a bunch of things that she's very new to the topic, unaware, which is fine. That's not what she signed up for when she decided to watch the H3 podcast. But the crazy part about all of this is when she was explaining her position on Israel Palestine, she was calling it Israel Pakistan. So I was like, all right, brother, we need to address this head on. So yeah. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? He's not going away. He's not shutting up. I think, the worst he can do to me is probably find some, like, I don't know, personal angle to attack me. Like, oh, he looks weird, or he's this or that. Because, like, I don't have any digital footprint being actually anti-Semitic. So it would probably be hard for him to actually combat me on any, silly kind of avenue the way he does.
Yeah,
but
of course.
He just ignored me otherwise, which is fine.
Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing is that, like, ultimately he can't ignore the whole thing of, like, how people have used it as a means to talk about Palestine in such a way.
Yeah.
And kind of, I also think that the greatest point is perhaps that Ethan is such an annoying liberal, if you know what I mean, in the sense of, like...
Yeah.
Especially since October the 7th, I think I've developed less charity for liberal Zionism. Already I knew that liberal Zionism was problematic, and especially in the case of the Israeli government, and how some people would be like, well, there's a better alternative, when you actually look at Israel, there's not. But like in terms of content creators who just kind of do... I think prior to October the 7th, how I saw someone was like Ethan, I was like, well, he's got a podcast with Hassan who does know about Palestine, and you will hear Ethan condemn Israel and say that it's violent and all of these things. But then post-October the 7th, like, watching this genocide unfold and then having nothing to say about it is so much more difficult to take, if you know what I mean.
I think it's one thing, entering just talking about the situation with your starting point being liberal Zionism, and it's another thing to display, like, a complete unwillingness to maybe challenge that belief. Like, I know a lot of people who are very kind-hearted, good people, and they believe, okay, maybe a two-state solution is going to work because, the Palestinians get something, Israelis get something, but it's not, it comes from a place of just not really understanding the situation well. And then when I tell them, I'm like, all right, well, just so you know, like, the peace camp, the left Zionists are responsible for the formation of the state of Israel and the massacres that entails, the Nakba. they're responsible for the derailing of the Oslo Accords and all of the shitty generous offers, like Ehud Barak not even wanting to dismantle the settlements, yet the whole world framed that as some sort of generous, offer of his. The fact that labor aligned with the more right-wing elements of the Israeli state to build the settlements. So there's all these things where you'll tell them, and then you'll tell them, like, there already is essentially like a one state in Israel. It's just Israel has all of the control and subjugates the minority.
Yeah, and also it's just oh, sorry, please go on.
No, I was just gonna say, from there, you're able to kind of like, if they're willing to truly kind of like quarrel with their past beliefs, you can get them to change their mind if they're honest. And I've had that with family members as well, and they're like, you're right. Yeah. I wasn't.
I think it's like one of the things, especially with the whole sort of liberal angle, is you're right. I don't think there's any. I think that the problem for me is that like any sort of sympathy towards Zionism, like the more you read about it and the more you understand it, rather than just like a disparate set of really violent, barbaric events, even if you understand like the Nakba, if you see it more as a structure that was bred from a project of going to someone else's land and taking it from them, you can't have sympathy for that, if you know what I mean. It is a project of racism. It is a project of supremacy over the indigenous people who live there. And when you put it out and you lay it out in like a video like yours, which I thought was really good, and like dealing with certain tropes of like people talking about how, oh, well, the Palestinians actually ethnically cleansed the Arabs and all of these things. And it's like, well, it was actually a much more complex process. And the only reason you're doing it is the same reason that you talk about colonialism. It's like a playground insult. They don't actually believe the words coming out of their mouth, nor do they have any care for their meaning. It's literally just saying it because other people said it to you, because, you read about it, you see it what it is.
Yeah, and I also think like there's a degree of Dunning-Kruger with a bit of with specifically, I would say, like the H3 crew, and relying a lot on ChatGPT. So if he's got a question, he'll ChatGPT it, and it's like, if you watch one of the videos that people have made criticizing you, they typically provide you with maybe source material that you could further explore, but it's just there's an overall lack of genuine concern. Like, he's not inquisitive when it comes to actually trying to learn this. So part of me is kind of like, well, fuck, if he's not interested, I can swear on on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I don't care. I think you're just not allowed to say the C word, because even though it's quite, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but here, like, it's
C word, like Chris
yeah. Apparently you're not allowed to say that for some reason.
Brother, that's your name, dude.
I know. I found out that it's my name.
They're censoring you.
But you know what? Like, I don't know if Hassan, I don't think Hassan liked it much, but when I was on his stream, I couldn't help but laugh because they call him Hamas Piker or Hamas Liker, and I was like, you know what? There's at least some ingenuity to that. It's like when someone called me Hamas Potter in the Chamber of Hostages. I remember I tweeted it out because I liked it. I was like, this is so fucking funny, someone actually saying that.
What the fuck?
It's like just him calling me that. It's like, it's such a childish insult, It's
what was it? Hamas Potter?
Hamas Potter in the Chamber of Hostages. Because I was streaming and there was like a wall behind me, like a sort of exposed stone wall, and they loved. And I, to be honest, like I just found it fucking hilarious. I was like, I don't care, but yeah, swearing is completely fine. Yeah, I know. It's. I kind of wanted to. I kind of want to make it my. Maybe I'll change my YouTube name one day.
Dude, that is so funny.
But so like, I mean, are you done with videos on like Ethan stuff and gonna focus more on like the history related stuff, or?
Yeah. So every time, like a few videos ago, I actually left a pinned comment and I was like, I'm done talking about Ethan, so don't expect it from me anymore. And then after I did that, he just kept doubling down, saying more and more stupid shit. And I was like, dude, like, I actually don't want to talk about this guy. But he just keeps saying stupid shit. So I've kind of resorted to this thing where since he just says, your stereotypical Zionist arguments, instead of making the video about him, or even instead of naming him in the videos, like I don't say, oh, Ethan Klein, I don't say H3, I don't use any of the terminology. I'll just put a clip. So I'll be like, oh, this is something that Zionists say. Then I'll put a clip, and it's just him saying like the most unhinged shit. Like, for example, just recently, he took a stance to the right of both Shlomo Ben-Ami and Benny Morris when it came to the classic Israeli foreign ministry myth of the Arab leaders telling the Palestinians to leave in 48 as opposed to being actually ethnically cleansed. He regurgitated that.
Do you know what Benny... Oh, sorry, please go on.
Sorry. No, go for it.
Do you know what Benny Morris's updated position is on that? Because in the birth of the Palestinian refugee problem, he says that like he didn't actually find any overarching order, but I think he changed it slightly later on.
Yeah. He put out a revised version of that book. I think it was in like the early 2000s. And his position now is like, yeah, they were ethnically cleansed, but they should have ethnically cleansed them all. That's his position now. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like, his position now is that he's openly praised Ze'ev Jabotinsky. He's openly praised Sharon's apartheid wall. He said that something like a cage needs to be built for the Palestinians. That's a quote. And he said that the Middle East would have peace right now if only if Ben-Gurion, the first labor group, expelled all of the Palestinians. That was what his position was. So. And
it's so funny because it just isn't true. Like, you look at the Middle East and people reduce its problems to like Palestinians. But the thing is that like Iran would still have a problem with Israel, and so would groups like Hezbollah, based on Western interference and imperialism, and they would just use that as like saying...
They had a problem with Israel before the Nakba. Go for it.
I'm pretty sure I heard someone say this, the first ever protest about Palestine in Yemen was in like 1947 or something, some point close to that. Like, Yemen has always been a place... And in fact... The other horrifying thing about when people say that to me is when people say that generally is, one of the prerequisites for Palestine not being an issue in certain countries is just brutal authoritarianism. Bahrain has had a long history of being pro-Palestine, like one of the most pro-Palestine countries. And people there just are like not allowed to be pro-Palestine anymore because their government is a dictatorship. And yet these people are like, yeah, we'd have peace in the Middle East. And it's just like, you just want bloody dictatorships forever? Like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And also the idea that this subsequent refugee crisis, which would be even larger if all of them were expelled, the refugee crisis was such a huge element in destabilizing and causing animosity toward Israel. If that was an even larger refugee crisis, it's not even worth trying to think or go into what Benny Morris meant by that. But he... It's interesting because I pointed this out in my video on left-wing Zionism, and I pointed out how a guy like Destiny, when he's not soliciting minors, will sit next to Benny Morris, whose positions are to the right of MAGA. Right? You look at MAGA, and they're saying, let's build the wall, let's blah blah blah. Secure, fortify the country. We're under attack from, these barbarous, in their instance, Mexicans, Southern Americans. And then you look at Benny Morris, who is supposedly a liberal, a left Zionist, which is what he himself calls himself. And he's saying, let's build a fucking cage for Palestinians. He's praising the apartheid wall. So it's like, it's just it seems like there's some dissonance there. But, I don't know, man. That's why I...
Oh, sorry, please.
Go for it.
I found out something pretty funny about Ilan Pape. So someone asked Ilan, Ilan, are you going to watch the Benny Morris, Destiny, Norman Finkelstein, and Rabani debate? And he said, no, I won't be watching that. And they were like, oh, why won't you watch it? It's like quite a significant thing. Also, just quickly, River One, you're in the chat. I finally got it working, so I'll have you up at some point soon. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, he told me that apparently Ilan just said he couldn't listen to Benny Morris for 4 hours because obviously he grew up with they were all historians at the same time. And the interesting thing is like when Ilan's explaining it, because I don't think he himself likes it that much because there's like like Palestinians and Arabs generally were writing Palestinians were ethnically cleansed, and they had like details of it before the Israelis did, but they didn't obviously have access to the archives. These people literally looked at the archives and they were like, yeah, shit, the Palestinian version of events is more true. Like what the Palestinians are saying is what happened, And then all of a sudden, it's like you have these people who are just like, now, well, you know, there's actually complexities to the Nakba. And I think when you read about it and learn about it and you look at the consequences for Palestinians and like actually just think about the stress and trauma of losing your entire life and being forced to march down to Gaza, which is no kind of life for a human being, you know, being denied the right to move freely, being constantly occupied and surveilled. You just look at that and you think anyone who obfuscates it makes me so angry, like viscerally, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I think these videos, for like some people, they're like, you shouldn't platform this, but there's also an element, I feel, of like a personal rage or anger towards these things, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, the more you learn about it, the more you, I guess, enter the arena and speak about it, it at least for me, it gets hard to kind of keep my, just my own emotions in check when talking about it, because it is such like a human situation where it's like, we can look at it analytically and we could talk about what happened in 47, what happened in 48, 56, 67. But at the end of the day, the situation is of a settler colonial genocidal ethno-supremacist project displacing the indigenous population. So we can talk about, you know, the Suez Canal crisis, the 6-Day War, the Yom Kippur War, until we're blue in the face. It's not going to change that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just strange. And like when it comes to he who shall not be named and his wife, it's very hard to feel sympathy as time progresses, because you'll see, on one hand, they'll be in an interview calling Ramallah a terrorist city, referring to Palestinians as it, which, you know, that could just very well be a misspeak. But it's like, dude, denounce it. You're now saying that it didn't happen. Just be like, yeah, it happened. It was super fucked up, and I'm like pro-Palestine now. I just don't understand why dragging it out and being like, no, it actually didn't happen, or if it did happen, it might have been legal. It's the occupation is illegal. Who gives a fuck if it's legal? Ramallah is in Area A. That's like the tiniest percentage of land the Palestinians get, according to Israel. And even then, they can't be like, all right, we're gonna fuck off from this tiny 18%. And I'm not one who subscribes to the whole carving up of the West Bank. I think any Israeli presence there is a crime. But yeah, it's just frustrating. So
I think it's also so difficult because like all of these people like try and the more clever amongst the liberal Zionists will always be like, yeah, I actually disagree with what's happening in the West Bank, but I'm like fine with what's happening in Israel proper because they have like Palestinians have some like closer semblance of equality there. And it's just like, first of all, even if that is true, even if you could fundamentally prove it, which you cannot, because it's very obvious that Jewish people there are treated with a degree of supremacy over Palestinian people, which is basically what the definition of apartheid is, because it doesn't have to mean apartness, you know, like a separation completely. It is a form of apartheid. And the scholarly concept of apartheid has moved well beyond just like apartness, you know. I read an article like months ago called Medical Apartheid, like talking about how Gaza's healthcare system and the way in which it can't, first of all, it just doesn't work because, like, even prior to October the 7th, it's on its fucking knees. If you're dealing with people with complex trauma to their legs, injuries from torture and stuff like that, you need complex treatments.
Yeah,
how are you doing that in a space that's being denied that stuff? And then you go, like, you know, a tiny bit away, and there's, like, modern hospitals with access to everything they need. Not to say the ones in Gaza aren't modern and aren't staffed by very talented people, but, like, at the same time...
they're undersupplied.
Exactly. They're undersupplied. And now all the fucking experts have been murdered. Like, experts. And that's the thing, I think, like, when you look at the genocide, I think people get very focused on, like, you know, trying to explain it through the terms of, like, well, it meets this UN definition. But look at the social life. There is nothing left there for Palestinians. Sorry, everyone's telling me that I need to increase your volume, so I think that's...
Oh, okay.
There we go. The volume is increased. That's fine. I've increased it, don't worry. It's probably just a my end thing. And it should be better. Horrible people from their crimes, like what Ted Bundy was a cool guy. Yeah, I feel like I agree with what Riverone just said. He just said it's the same concept as separating horrible people from their crimes. Like Ted Bundy was a cool guy and ignoring what he did. And it is. It is like saying, and I think There was a tweet I had a while ago that was like, it's like saying you only had a problem with the Bantustans and not the fact that South Africa was racist, that most of the violence, most of the depravity was kept to the Bantustans. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, so what are you planning for the next video, if you can talk about
I was going to say, I'm actually covering, because it's going to be pretty much what I did last time, but it's going to be more modern Zionist myths. I might frame it as like an iceberg video, like genocide denial iceberg, and then go over all of the talking points. And one of them is that Israel proper is supposedly, okay for Palestinians, that they're integrated as full citizens or whatever. But again, like there's the whole citizenship thing where it's like, no Israeli nationality, just citizen, and then like the specifics of all that. And then there's also the Judaization of like the Galilee in certain places.
Bro, that literally sounds anti-Semitic when you say it. Like I know what the term is. Judaization, bro. That literally sounds like. I know, of course, it is, and like there's literally a Wikipedia page called like Judaization, but it sounds fucking anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
fuck. They're Judaizing places,
bro. It's insane. So it's like, when it comes to that specific argument, that for some the idea that Palestinians enjoy equal rights in Israel is complete bullshit. You got the Judaization of places. You also got, I think it's the 58 basic law of the Knesset that states any party cannot actually challenge Israel's character as a Jewish state, which is like, okay, so your argument that Palestinians have civil liberties and they're allowed to be in the government, it falls short of actually being able to change the ethno-supremacist character of that state. So how much pull do they have? How equal are they? So
when was that brought in?
I think it was 58. There's a good article by Amnesty International. It's called Israel's Apartheid Against Palestinians. Let me check my books. Amnesty.
Because there's one thing that I actually know about that Israel introduced a load of legislation when Kahana, right?
Yeah.
When Kahana was removed, Israel used the justification to like alter the charter, not only to like ban candidates with racist acts or goals, but also I think that it added part then of like challenging Israel. Like they literally used it to crack down on Arabs.
Yeah, I found it right here. It's under Israel's basic law, the Knesset of 58, the Central Elections Committee can disqualify a party or candidate from participating in elections if their objectives or actions are meant to negate the definition of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state, incite racism, or support armed struggles by a hostile state or terrorist organization against Israel. So right here, they're equating the challenging of Israel as a Jewish state with inciting racism, failing to understand that Israel's character as a Jewish state is inherently racist. But this is Israel's Apartheid Against Palestinians by Amnesty International. It's little PDF.
So the new one's going to be then like more modern stuff, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. As I say, like I really enjoyed your last video. It's very interesting, like very, I don't know, just well made.
Thanks, man.
And like,
thank you, bro. Thank you for being part of it.
I think I really enjoyed it, and I also think that like one of the things is it's amazing how quickly you're able to cover like very complex topics and give like a really good amount of information backed up in like scholarly work, basically. You know.
Thanks, man. It's a lot of like rewriting the scripts, and it's like stressful to make. By the time I'm done, I'm like incredibly burnt out. So for the past 2 days, I've just been kind of like chilling, but I'm gonna get back to like reading and script writing, I think either tomorrow or Monday.
Are you thinking of doing something about the Intifada in it?
I don't know if I have anything about the Intifada. What specifically?
Well, I guess kind of one of like the interesting tropes that I find or like recently is the way in which like globalized the Intifada is demonized as a term when it speaks to only kind of like one side of like how actually it's a call for uprising, that even during the second Intifada that was much more militarized, the vast majority of Palestinians just did protesting, you know, and they were still brutalized.
Well, yeah, and also like I feel like there's a ton of Islamophobic connotations when it comes to the way people just conceive of the word Intifada, because like the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising would be technically an Intifada. So I mean, it's just, I think it's the fact that it's like a scary word for people in the West, more than it is like conceptually what it is, right? It's an uprising, and you know, oppress people long enough, they're gonna uprise. It's ridiculous to make a big deal out of that. But yeah, I don't know. Globalize the Intifada they're trying to make it sound like it's like some crazy call for like the extermination or some like genocidal call. That's insane. So, yeah, I'll add that to my list. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it just might be like an interesting one because obviously, I mean, it's obviously your video, but I just mean in terms of things to talk about and like things that, you know,
that's perfect.
People are always like propagandizing about. And when you look at like the history of the Intifada, like there was a guy recently, and I realized because I kind of want to make a video in the future about the Intifada. There's a guy called Riyad Awad who literally just made songs about the Intifada and was like arrested and beaten by Israeli forces for doing that. And it's kind of like you look at how arbitrary that is. Yeah. I mean, it was like some of in the Guardian article, it's like some of them reference throwing stones and Molotov cocktails. And it's like Israel was using live ammunition against Palestinian protesters, you know, and if not that, like torturing them like en masse. And it's like the equation of a word like Intifada and the feelings of Zionists in the UK, the US, Canada, and all these places is fundamentally ridiculous, you know?
Yeah.
Palestinians
Dude, absolutely.
are victims.
It's really funny. So you said that guy was like, he made songs about Intifada? That's funny, because like, I haven't been making music in a while, but the last song I wrote, I think had a bar about an Intifada, and this is like a while ago. But I was like, damn, if I released that, and like, if I had to like travel or some shit, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But, like, because I'm in Canada, but like a lot of like the people I work with, a lot of my family lives in California, so I've just been not going because like in case for some reason like I'm on a list, which I doubt I am. Like I'm not big enough for a list, I don't think.
Well, even then, it feels like I don't think I'd go to the US personally. I just don't think I would because like. I guess maybe because also I've made a lot of TikTok content, and TikTok is something that they seem to dislike a lot, like, you know. But I do know someone who has who's like a student in the US, and they arrived before Trump, but like, they were saying, yeah, I'm not making videos in the periods where I'm in the UK. Like, I don't do that. Like, I don't do anything when I'm in the UK pretty much, and they don't. Like, you can look at their profile, and they are not making very large amounts of videos because they're literally fucking terrified. I mean, it must be such an awkward situation because, you know, you care so much about this, but it can have such like blowback. And it's so funny listening to like in the clip of He Who Shall Not Be Named earlier. He was like, people have no backbone. They won't stand up against anti-Semitism. It's the hardest thing to defend. And it's like, no, it's fucking not. It is literally the easiest thing. If you were making videos about why it's cool to kill Palestinians, you would have no worry about traveling around Western countries. Maybe you could go to fucking Iraq or something, or Iran, but like most people would go anyway.
Was it Andy Ogles? Who was it? He tweeted about Zohran Mamdani, calling him Little Muhammad, calling for his deportation when he won. That's insane. I made this point in a video. I was like, could you imagine if like an elected official tweeting about like a Jewish mayor being like, "Yo, deport little Shlomo," bro? that guy would be. He'd be out of here.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I mean, it's insane.
But I mean, that's something that Edward Said writes about. He said he described Islamophobia pre 9/11 as the only form of bigotry in Western society that is not only permissible but is actively celebrated. And in many ways, when you look at it in terms of like, if you're actually an anti-Semite, bro, you're not going anywhere in elections. I mean, unless you're like cloaking it and you like say I love Israel. Like, obviously there are actually a lot of anti-Semites who do that, who are like, you know,
I was gonna say
anti-Semitic.
Like Elon Musk. I would say Elon Musk might be actually anti-Semitic. He's not going to say anything about the state of Israel.
Did he say
like,
that he was culturally Jewish?
I don't know if he said that. That's pretty crazy.
He said I'm Jewish by association. That's what he said.
That's amazing. That's fucking based.
And aspirationally.
That's hard, dude. Do you know the guy? Fuck, what's his name? He was the Republican dude. He's very funny, and I think he's going to jail. George Santos. When he said that he's Jew-ish.
No, I don't remember that.
Fuck, dude. He goes, yeah, I'm Jew-ish. It's got to be anti-Semitic, bro.
I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, like, again, one of the things that loads of people have been talking about is how the podcast is now working with Keemstar, someone who apparently encouraged his audience to, like, say anti-Semitic things like 3 years ago about, you know, Ethan and Hila, and now they're just working with him. And I like wanting to go over to Kick. Like, Kick is a crazy platform. Like, you know it for, like,
dude,
people who are on there being racist, like people who are just straight up racist as fuck on there. And if you, like, really cared about bigotry and all of this stuff, what you would feel, because I think that, like, when I spoke to there's a Palestinian historian I spoke to who's a great guy, Abdul Razak Takriti, and when I was talking to him, he was just like, you know, it's ridiculous that you think that, like, there's just, like, this one thing that people are so progressive on Palestine, anti-colonialism and all of these things, but then apparently they just harbour some hatred for Jewish people when their entire worldview is built on, like, I don't know, having a better life and human beings not being subjected to apartheid, ethnic cleansing and all.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I there was a guy in one of my comment sections where he's like, stop saying Zionist, just say it's Jews. And I'm like, dude, the reason that we feel so strongly about Zionists is because they mirror you Nazi dipshits. And that's kind of like where it comes from. It has nothing, it has to do with the ethno-supremacism.
100%.
Yeah, so I mean, if it is the most logically consistent to be anti-Zionist and anti-Nazi.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like, I always explain it like this. Nazism is an extremist form of identity politics, right? Like, that's what it is. It was an extremist form of identity politics that does have uniquenesses even amongst other racisms, which I don't think people appreciate, like the belief that all races would fight and the Aryans would come out on top everywhere. But even then,
it's delusional.
Hitler was saying stuff like, I'm literally inspired by America and what they did to the Redskins, he would always call them. The Nuremberg laws were inspired by America's racial purity laws, which were about natives, which were about, like, they had exceptions for natives. There's this crazy chart, which I don't know if I'd be able to find, but it's talked about by Patrick Wolf. And what it is it's just like how to work out the degree of an Indian in 1986 talking about Native Americans. And it's got, like, different charts, like, running across, like, and they go up to, like, 512ths of Native American, and they're all just to classify people not as Native Americans. And the other crazy shit is, like, people don't probably realize how racist this whole blood shit is, because, like, that's just turning race into a science. Like, blood is not quantifiable. There's not a certain percentage that if I cut you, it's going to bleed like Canadian or, like, you know, British or wherever, like, ancestors are from or wherever. But, like, people just still buy into that shit, you know?
No, and I got a lot of race realists really mad at me this week because in my video I did, like, a little disclaimer saying how race was socially constructed. And I guess they thought that meant that it's not real. But, I mean, the consequences of that social construction are very real, right? Like, people who experience racism are going to say, oh, wow, this is obviously real. But the idea that, like, it's rooted in any sort of, like, biology or science is stupid. And people were really mad at me. They're like, oh, dude, what are you talking about? Like, Kenyans can outrun pumas. That's what some guy said. I was like, well, you're an idiot, dude. You're a fucking idiot.
Bro's doing British racism from, like, the 1900s.
Dude, yeah. I was like, whoa, bro. Like, I mean, yeah. Like, you got to weed out, like, the racists, I guess.
Yeah,
but
and I mean, there's a book which I've always meant to read, and I've only read the beginning of, and it's called, like, Racecraft, and it's by these people called the Field Sisters, and it's quite interesting. But they're just talking about how, like, race as a science is one that is completely dismissed, completely unproven, completely fucking worthless, and yet still to this day, the concept of, like, race as a sort of socially constructed thing, as a non, like, the sort, like, race as, like, a scientific, real biological thing, is still mentioned to this very day as if it has, like, relevance in our society. But, like,
it's crazy. Like, Italians weren't white at one point. Irish weren't white at one point. They're white now. It's because it's a malleable category. It's constructed.
100%. And these societies, like, race is basically just made by interactions with human beings. Like, when the colonized is forced to, like, live with the colonizer, basically. Like, race in the UK has become hotter of an issue as more and more people have come over from the former colonies. Like, at a certain point, it wasn't, like, of course, most people were just like, yeah, it's okay to dominate others. But, like, they've particularly become more irked by the other as the other shares the space with them, and they're forced to confront, like, the realism of the fact of, like, this sort of fantastical ideology of, like, a pure sort of whiteness does not exist. Like, people are just living in different places and integrating with you, and they will always be able to, and some people want to maintain those barriers, and most people don't, generally. But I mean...
Did you see the ADL guy?
No.
Greenblatt?
Greenblatt,
oh, bro. He said some crazy shit like a few days ago about how, I don't want to misquote, but it was something along the lines of how Jewish people should refrain from interfaith marriage to, you gotta post the clip. But bro, that shit is insane. This is like a civil rights guy.
I mean, the thing is one of my friends did explain to me about this. There is a bit of an anxiety in the Jewish community, and it stems mostly from the Holocaust, predominantly, about how, like, people worry that, like, the Jewish people will go extinct. And this is actually what Kahana used to fucking talk about all the time. He actually was very Hitlerian in this racism. He always used to talk about how, like, Hitler would speak about how there were good German women being attacked by evil Jewish boys. Like, they just attack them all the time. And Kahana, there's literally a video where he's like, the Arab in the cafe will say that his name is Yossi, and he will trick the Jewish girl into marrying him. And wow. You know, Israel's president, Isaac Herzog, he said that shit as well. He referred to his non-Jewish friends, his Jewish friends being married to non-Jews in America as parasites or something like that.
Holy fuck, dude. Yeah, I mean, Jabotinsky wrote some shit about that too in his a letter on autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about mixed. Yeah, it was fundamentally it's a very racist ideology, like the purity of a certain group.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that it comes from a place of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always say that Zionism is so pernicious, because like most fascist ideologies, like they need to they typically will rely on like a kind of a narrative where it's like them against some other. They're on the back foot, they're fighting an uphill battle. And the thing with Zionism is that the persecution and oppression of Jewish people throughout history is very real. So like there is a real narrative to hide behind. Whereas, you know, when you look at the Nazis, like you're not going to be very sympathetic to their construction of them as like victims needing to take on X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to Zionism, you are, because Jewish people are, have been wrongfully persecuted, and that's what makes it so much more dangerous, in my opinion. Because there are people who are good people, who can't really look past that. Like I have a family member. She's a very sweet lady, but she's very philo-Semitic, right? So she comes at things thinking that Jewish people can do no wrong. Jewish people are like kind of like a special type of people. And I have to explain, I'm like, Jewish people are they're normal people, bro. They're like you and me. Like they can fuck up too. And that philo-Semitism plays a big role in upholding the Zionist project, because, well-meaning liberals might they are the backbone of that shit.
I mean, it's like in the UK, I don't know if it's adopted in the US, but like the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism is crazy if you know what that is. It says that it's the International Holocaust Remembrance Association or Alliance definition of anti-Semitism. It includes that it is anti-Semitic to make an allusion between Israel and Nazism. And I think that the problem with that, and obviously the problem with that is that it's like, if you're understanding Israel Nazism is just evil, and you're saying Israel is evil, it's like, it's a shit comparison, so why are you making it? But if you're talking about it on a political level, then what is wrong with that? Because you are comparing two ethno-supremacist ideologies which say that there is an other responsible for the degradation of our wonderful society, our wonderful land, who ruins everything for us, who ruins everything for everyone. If you're saying that kind of shit, there's something to be said for comparisons between the two and caring about why you should compare the two.
You know that website, the Zionism.wtf, where it like shows you a quote? It's like, is this come from a... I mean, bro, there's a lot of similarities in the rhetoric deployed by both.
Also, do you know an interesting fact about Jabotinsky that one of my mods told me? Jabotinsky studied under Mussolini.
Oh yeah, Mussolini thought he was a great fascist.
I mean, is
that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. It's just so fucking funny. It's just so fucking insane.
It's crazy, bro. Yeah, like when I saw that, I was like, God damn, bro. He's getting like the respect from the big dog. But yeah, that's insane. This is like totally unrelated, but just like an interesting fact. My maternal great grandfather fought for Mussolini, and like to his death was like a Mussolini stan. He was an asshole. He's not a good guy. But yeah, he was like to his death Mussolini stan.
My friend told me a lot of old Italians, though, they'll all say, like, I don't know how you say it, but it sounds quite nice in Italian. Obviously, it has a horrible meaning. But, like, when he says, it was better when he made the trains run on time. Like,
True. But, yeah, it's like a saying. It's funny because my paternal side is very sympathetic to, like, communists, like the partisans. They're very anti-fascist. So, like, I kind of got both sides of, like, understanding the old Italians. Like, my paternal grandfather is incredibly based. Like, he's probably safe to say he's, like, leftist, socialist guy. But my maternal great-grandfather, not so much. But, yeah, that's one of the things. It was like, oh, Mussolini, he made the trains run on time. But a lot of people don't understand that, like, the thing that was, you know, that you can maybe give credit to Mussolini is that it was oh, that's a fucking clip and a half. But it was the fact that he embraced left-wing kind of populism, populist economics, at least nominally, and that's where I'd say a lot of his appeal was. And same with Hitler, right? Like they nominally appealed to like the left-wing sensibilities, the economic left-wing sensibilities. That's where the word socialism comes from in National Socialist. But and I think that's one of the things, if you can kind of explain that to people who may have an older Italian who may have like a sense of an inclination toward Mussolini, and be like, look, the thing that you are praising this guy for is actually kind of like a left-wing populist position. You don't need all of this other bullshit, and he was lying about his populism anyways. You can kind of steer them away. But yeah, Italians are a very interesting group. It was my first language, actually. I didn't speak English until I was like 6.
Did you grow up there?
No, I was born in Canada, but like my family spoke Italian when I was a kid. And like my grandparents, because my parents worked, so my grandparents are like brought me to school. I stayed there. They only spoke Italian, so like I didn't. What are you laughing at?
Do you still speak it?
Is the chat going like this?
No. I'm more just. It's kind of crazy. I didn't know that. Do you still speak it or?
Yeah. No, I got bullied when I was a kid, so I like kind of like forgot it. I was like, I don't want to speak this shit anymore, and I learned English.
I mean, I think that's probably for the best, because the chat may not be saying it, but you know, I feel pretty negatively about the Italian people, the things that they're up to. I've seen The Sopranos. They're ruining New Jersey, bro.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, The Sopranos, and I'm gonna choose my words carefully. That is a very accurate depiction of some people I know.
Canadian. My Canadian friend told me the same thing. She said that a lot of Montreal Italian people are, a lot like that.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I have family who are spitting images of some of those characters. So.
Yeah, I mean, so how did you get into all of this Palestine stuff? Was it from like have you always been interested in it, or was it from your grandfather, or?
So not really from him. Like I always respected that he's always like a labor guy, like a union guy, trade unionist type guy. But the thing that was kind of the turning point for me is I've always had a strong distaste for like just imperialism, colonialism. I shouldn't say always, but in like my adult life, the big kind of turning point was, I don't know if you've ever heard me tell this story. I feel like people are gonna get bored of me saying this, but my girlfriend's mother is She's like a communist from Chile. Her father worked for Salvador Allende, who was like a Marxist president. And then she had to flee when the Pinochet regime came, and she like lived in Cuba for a bit, came to Canada. So she's very anti-Western imperialism intervention, and she kind of like put me onto the Cuban Revolution, Chilean history, and Palestine. Like way before October 7th. Like she gave me a kafia. She was very feels very strongly about it. So that was just kind of like percolating in my brain, all of those I guess political ideas. And my job is music. Like I make music. It's been my job for close to like maybe 8-10 years. And after October 7th, I started to post quite a bit about Israel's disproportionate response. And very quickly, I lost quite a bit of connections and bridges that I've spent close to 10 years building. And I'm very stubborn, right? So like as soon as I saw that, I was kind of like, well, fuck these guys. I'm going to go balls to the wall. And, you know, if I piss off the people in this industry, maybe I don't want to be part of this industry. And then I started the YouTube channel. I didn't go right into talking about Palestine because I was still reading, still studying. So I started with more like anti-imperialist videos. And then once I felt confident enough in my knowledge on the topic is when I started pumping out the videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a very interesting way of getting into it. I mean, it's hardly surprising because, like, anyone who has basically... There's some quote that, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He has some pretty interesting views. His name's Louis Allday. You probably wouldn't have, but if you've ever read any Ghassan Kanafani books, then quite possibly he's the translator because his work, Liberated Texts, is, like, responsible for a lot of recent translations of Kanafani's work. And so Louis is... he was talking about this old... I remember this tweet from him. He may not have tweeted it, but I remember he retweeted it, but I do think he did. He was talking about some old Lebanese guy who was like a teacher who was like, you know, I think he was even a Maronite maybe, but he was like, anyone who knows anything about this knows that Israel is bad. Like Hezbollah, whatever they may be, I may not ideologically align with them. I may not feel like their program has anything to offer for me. But what I do materially know here is that Israel is categorically the evil. I'm a Lebanese person who has experienced this. And the same kind of thing that has destabilized and wrought chaos in the Middle East. And I was actually just reading, I've just started reading something about this by someone called Fawaz Gerges about like the Middle East and like Nasser and Mossadegh. And what he's talking about is like, and I know that this is what it was, but he's talking about basically how this is just a complete and utter Cold War mindset. That like all this is just the Cold War of like, they thought anyone, even Allende, like Allende, Jacobo Arbenz in Guatemala. Like all of these people who even if they didn't enact radical change, if you did not dance the Western tune, they saw the problem because anyone who threatened a status quo had to go. You needed a dictatorial strongman who enforced what is happening. And I'm actually, the video I've just been working on or trying to work on is literally about how this has actually changed in recent years. And the UAE now does it all for America. Like, America still gets involved, you know, like it'll bomb Iran. Like, it'd be impossible not to talk about that. But, like, the UAE, they poured money into Egypt to displace the democratic regime there and replace it with a military strongman who Trump called his favorite dictator. In Libya, they're supporting a guy called Khalifa Haftar, who, whilst the sort of UN-backed government were fighting ISIS, he was just stealing territory in the south, and he's backed by Russia and all these people. They're backing genocidal militias in Sudan. It's like
RSF.
And I think when you kind of see it in this way, they're just like the new policemen of the Middle East, but nothing's fucking changed. Like Chile's so good for like solidarity with Palestine in the sense of it's all imperialism. It's all the same thing.
It's funny because like even like you brought up Arbenz, even Castro, Mossadegh, like these guys weren't communists, but they just still threatened Western imperialism. Arbenz was like, some describe him as like a redistributive capitalist, some say a democratic socialist. Mossadegh was like an economic nationalist. Fidel Castro wasn't even a Marxist or a communist when he came to power. He was like a nationalist. it was only after he was like, you know what, fuck these guys, I'm gonna cozy up to the Soviets, and then he called it. It was Guevara who was the Marxist.
Do you know the same's true about Gamal Abdel Nasser in Egypt? Yeah. I did not know. I did not know like how he. Apparently like American officials were like parading him around, and they were like in 54 they were like, this guy is great.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. It was after 67. That's when it switched, when they thought, oh, okay. Because originally, like, it was the Soviets that supported the state of Israel in like, his formation. Like,
they were the first people there.
Yeah. And that switched. It was, like, after 67, around then. Rashid Khalidi, he has a chapter about it. Or he talks about it in 100 Years' War on Palestine, and Finkelstein talks about it in the Holocaust Industry. How it wasn't like Israel wasn't always America's greatest ally. That changed around 67.
And I think something that people actually discount about why Americans kind of love it is literally just that it's really good at killing Muslims. It's really, really good at killing Muslims.
It's a massive part of it. Yeah, like Israel, I know now, like a majority of the demographic is like Mizrahi, right? Or not white. But still, the conception of Israel in the West is that it's like a Western, like a white country, even though like it's not demographically. But again, whiteness is like this. It's like this construct. It's like this in-group versus out-group thing. And Israel is perceived, at least amongst the rest of the Western countries, as a white Western country. That's why they get invited to fucking Eurovision.
Mm-hmm. Actually, do you know why they're in Eurovision? Do you know the actual reason?
Why?
It's because the reason. So Morocco and Tunisia, one of them has competed, but the reason they're in it, of course, actually, football's the better example of literally it's because they're fucking European. But in Eurovision, it's whether you're in the European broadcasting thing. So like Israel's broadcasting is done by some European organizer, but in football, the only reason they're not in Asian or African football is because they kept winning tournaments really early on because no one would play against them. And it's so funny because like when football wasn't like, it's so obvious how like much more controlled football has become, because previously, obviously soccer for you, but like previously
I was confused. I was like, what is this guy talking about? I thought my brain, I was thinking like NFL, like you got these guys in like
but like once upon a time they were like, once upon a time they were much more like allowed to speak freely, and what their decision of course was why the fuck am I playing against Israel? I want nothing to do with this country, because people in the Middle East, and this is the funny thing, I don't know if you have experienced this, but Middle Easterners have such low opinions of sort of white people when it comes to knowing anything about the Middle East. They think probably it's changed since October the 7th, especially amongst younger people. Yeah. But like Middle Eastern people are so grateful if you show any interest, if you show any rejection of what has been done there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was last time I was in LA, right after October 7th. I was there. My buddy was like, I guess he was on a date with this girl. We all went to like a bar, and like they know nothing about Middle East, Latin America, anything, whatever. And she was from Lebanon, so she was just asking. She's like, "You know where Lebanon is?" I was like, "Yeah, it's like right above Palestine." And she was stoked that A, I knew, and B, I didn't call it Israel.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Damn, it's really that's the bar, bro."
100%, because I guess like, you know, you look at what we're fed about the Middle East and what are the dominant narratives. Like I look at I'm told constantly, Iran's causing chaos, and like I don't have sympathy for the Iranian government in the sense of like I know people from Iran who talk to me about like it's very repressive, and they're leftists who impose Western imperialism, and they're like, you know, it's a difficult place to grow up, and there are things that are prevalent in society that are very difficult, especially if you're a young woman. But at the same time, I know that they're like, you know, that they're just not going to sit out and come and support Israel and act as if Iran destabilized the entire Middle East. It's not fucking true. It's not like a reality.
Who said that? Was that Ethan? Who said that?
That they're the fucking evil. He said that they're the evil. Whatever you think of Israel, Iran, they're the evil. They're responsible for all of this. It's crazy.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's also really like funny to me when people will bring up Iran and then just not mention any of the history, not mention the 53 coup that overthrew Mossadegh, Operation Ajax. I mean, like, again, the state of Iran right now is a response to the Americans and the British overthrowing Mossadegh in 53, installing a dictator that people didn't like, and imposing Western values onto a people who didn't want it. They just didn't want it at the time. And then, that causes a reaction. Then you have the Islamic Revolution. So that's how you get there. But people will purposefully ignore everything that leads up to it and just says Iran is just the evil. They're just categorically evil because it's in their like fucking bones or essence or some shit. But it's like, dude, how the fuck did we get here?
It didn't have to be this way, like it just categorically did not. And it's not, and it's, and the other thing is like with that topic of like people's reaction, even I believe one of the other really exacerbating things was the people wanted the Shah to face justice. And the Shah just fucking fled to America and just went and lived in America and got treatment,
Dude, yeah, that's like the whole hostage crisis. They were pressed. They're like, bro, this guy like tortured us, bro. Like, why the fuck is he getting to just get was it cancer treatment in America?
Yeah, it was. I think he had cancer of some form. And then his son, I don't know, man. And his son is now just getting trotted out by Israel. And
bro, dude, it's so funny, that guy, because like you'll see him now, like he's tweeting, he's like being propped up, but like he just looks like the Walmart version of his dad that is just being like paraded around by the West. Yeah. I don't know how popular he is, though. Is he
not
very
popular? No, not inside Iran, because it's also kind of indicative of, once again, what they want, because they're not actually listening or working with the protesters. They don't give a fuck what the protesters want. They just want an Iran that's like opened up as a new space to fucking develop with skyscrapers that don't benefit the people and then sell to the Western people. It's like, look how amazing Iran is and futuristic. And it's like based on the fucking Dubai model, which it will probably fucking never work in Iran. But like, you look at like Dubai and the UAE as a whole, it's not a good place. It's not like a cool place. But
that's kind of the other thing, which with Western countries specifically, they feel like their blueprint for modernization, or whatever they call it, is applicable to everyone. Is applicable to a Middle Eastern country, a Latin American country, an African country, but nearly every single time, trying to force that compatibility makes things worse. Like, people need to be able to develop their own culture, their own way, the way that they want to, without external pressure. And I feel like until we understand that, you're going to keep running into these issues, right? Like, how many times does specifically the Americans need to meddle in a country, overthrow a democratically elected president, and replace him with a dictator, until they get it? All right, this is not going to work. And they don't, they aren't being that blatant very often anymore, but they're still using things like neocolonialism, the IMF, the World Bank to, entrap countries with debt, structural adjustment programs where they're like, you get this if you give us X, Y, and Z, and that X, Y, and Z usually is not very good for the indebted nation. So it's like, it's hard for me to just wholly be like, Iran is bad, Hezbollah is bad. Like, it's like, whatever you think about them, I don't care. But it's like, in the grand scheme of things, you have this force that is primarily the evil, in the words of Ethan Klein. But until you address that, everything else is a response. Everything else is a reaction. Now that's not excusing like the excessive, regressive monstrosities that other people have the agency to commit. That'll obviously happen. But again, we need to first address the imperialism, the Western imperialism, because that is, at least in my opinion, that's the source of a lot of problems.
I mean, it's even like there's a guy who's like, I think his views on Palestine might be a bit shitty. His name's Gilbert Achcar, but he wrote a book called The People Want, and it's about like the Arab Spring generally, or like the Arab uprisings. I can't remember. I think the Arab uprisings is the term that people prefer. But like the Arab Spring, right, is like something that comes out of years of discontent in the Middle East. But all of the reports from all of the financial organizations are like, Tunisia's actually doing really well. Tunisia has loads of tourism and a growing economy, but yet there are still people who are like not existing in any kind of meaningful way there, where they are like working all day to feed a huge family, where then their children probably will have no jobs. And it's the fucking same in Gaza when they tell you Gaza could have been Dubai. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Singapore. Could have been Singapore.
2 million people live there. In one of the most densely populated places. Unemployment is so high, or there's no support for like there's a UN report from 1955 that is talking about Gaza is not going to be able to support the influx of refugees, and cut off from the world, it probably couldn't even support the people who already existed there. And all it exists as now, and has existed as, is like a form of I think someone called it bare life, which is drawing on I think a Gambin maybe. And what it said is like it's kind of just like existing. Like, yes, people find meaningful ways, and the resistance of Palestinian people, I'm not demeaning that in any context, or like the lives that people had and found and the love that they had for Gaza. But at the same time, you're looking at a space where people are not allowed to leave and be free. And you're telling me that, like, actually, Hamas is like the root of all ill, and we just root them out and everything will be fine. It's like, the article which I meant to talk about, I don't know if you've seen this today, because you said you've been like off a bit, but like for the first time, Israel's actual estimated casualty to combatant ratio has been revealed in Gaza from internal documents.
No, today?
Yeah. So the IDF alleged, according to their database, 8,900 named fighters were dead as of May. As at the overall death toll of 53,000. So that means 83% were not.
Wow.
They're saying that 83% are civilians, which like compared to, and this is published in the Guardian, and it's like it has to be a leak of some sort. And someone was asking me, how are they leaked? Security sources. But
bro.
And it's so like, and I was talking about this earlier in the context of, I think this is what makes me so fucking mad about people who talk about the fucking Middle East and like try and like be like, well, actually, guys, you need to be more accurate on Palestine. I actually think that Israelis need some sympathy. And it's like, motherfucker, that is a killing. That is you. This is. I don't think I needed an article like this revealed by Israelis to tell me when you are wiping out.
We knew.
When you are wiping out, like, the houses, when you are wiping out social life, and the basis of the reproduction of social life, like experts, teachers, lecturers, students, like everything is gone. That's genocide, bro.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, people. It amazes me that people are able to deny that reality to this day. But there was a great report from Amnesty International. I think it was like 5-6 months ago. You probably read it. The "You Feel Like You're Subhuman" report, where they make like the legal case for as to why it is genocide, and they detail all of that. Like, what is it? I think it's like now 92% of buildings destroyed in Gaza. I can't remember what it is. All of the schools, the hospitals. I mean, they even pair it with quotes from Israeli officials, just openly saying their intent. Right. So it's like. And you'll still see people, like, I mean, admittedly, mostly on like Twitter, where people aren't like the most well read, that'll still deny that this is a thing that's happening.
It's just like unbelievable, because like in the UK, the last protest I was at, they were singing "We Are the Champions" through like a loudspeaker and flying IDF flags like proudly, and it's like the police has just stood in front of them defending them. And it's like, someone was like, I remember on Twitter, someone was like, so you're saying you want to see them attacked? And it's just like, no, bro, they should not be there. And the police should not be defending anything like that, because that is just incitement. That is just a pure, unadulterated celebration of genocide. That is all that is. There is nothing more to that. And the fact that you have that going on, you have that shit happening, is like unfucking believable.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking insane. What? Yeah, I'm gonna pee real quick. I'll be right back.
No problem. I'll check chat. Right. Sorry, I've missed donations. I've been on a wasp nest of a cruise with my husband's family, and talking politics has put holes on my brain. Thank you guys for filling them. Thank you so much, Super Guy, for the donation. My goat's dunking it out in the marketplace of ideas. My biggest problem with the H3 podcast is that Ethan has a big platform and his fans are normies. I think that that's 100%, like 100% where the actual issue lies. That when you have like a fucking huge platform and you're just using it to just shout out this shit. It's ridiculous. Also, River One, you said you got a video coming out about Chile. I'll be sure to watch that because I'm no actual expert on South America at all. I've literally just read the basics. Sorry, I'm just being told that Brian Johnston was liking my tweet. I hope it's that fucking like guy who's who's like injected himself with blood. Shrinking platform, luckily, 100%. Thank you for the Libya mention. Really feel like no one gives a fuck about the place. I don't not give a fuck about Libya, but the funny thing is, and the funny thing I sort of find with like streaming and like debating and all of these people who are like newfound experts in like how to own the libs on these topics, the understanding the Middle East is a broad fucking thing. Like, yes, you can understand like you can understand like the overarching themes and overarching things in it, but like when you're looking at like understanding country by country basis, it takes like modules, it takes like learning to understand even like the basics of a country. And like when people are like, why don't you talk about Sudan more, it's like, bro, I'd love to, but I just don't know enough and I'm still focused on Palestine. I can't actually tell which Brian Johnson it is, but yeah, rip Libya indeed. You mentioned that's all I care about. I think I'm actually about to mention it in my video as well, to talk about the UAE briefly. What was done to NATO by Libya is despicable. 100%. 100%. What time did you need to head, by the way?
I could stick around for another like 25.
Okay, perfect. That'd be perfect then. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm gonna head to the gym, dude. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but you're looking pretty swole.
I know, but the problem is that I've actually I went to Italy and I was just eating the whole time and I just put on weight when I was there, so I've put on some, but I have been obviously like, I don't know, because are you still, how much music stuff are you still doing, like a lot or?
I have not really been doing it at all recently because I've been really busy with all of the reading and like the researching for the videos, but occasionally if I have some time I'll do it. I'll do some maybe production for people or mixing, mastering. Not that much though.
But the gym is like, I find that because we end up sitting at our computers a lot of the time, going to the gym is like one of the only things. Like people ask, actually, you know what? Here's a question for you. How do you sort of like deal with sort of looking at this news and reading about it? Because reading about it is a very like difficult thing, especially when, you know, you're looking at something that happened many decades ago and you're looking at today and you're like, shit is not changing.
Again, there's a good quote from Antonio Gramsci. It's you got to keep the, I don't want to get it wrong. God damn.
I saw his grave. That was actually one of my favorite moments.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Is that's crazy. I think it's the optimism of the will, the pessimism of the intellect or some shit. But it's just basically like, shit sucks. And you do what you can to chip away at that and change things. It's very hard too, and I struggle with it too, trying to emotionally detach when you're covering situations like this, especially this one.
Yeah.
And you don't want to risk becoming like numb and like sociopathic on it either. So taking breaks is like a very important thing. I couldn't imagine doing what you're doing where you stream all the time, or a guy like Hassan who streams all the time. Like that would be very difficult for me because like I'm a very like, I don't know. I'll get emotionally involved in things, and then I'm like, fuck, I gotta stop.
Yeah, I think it is hard, and I think sometimes like I'm very often like some of my TikToks I'm very, very, very fucking animated on, and sometimes on here, you know, I'm very animated when I'm talking passionately about stuff. But like sometimes, you know, I'd like have to. There are a couple of TikToks that just got banned, and that's one of the reasons that I don't just speak like completely candidly on TikTok always, because it's like if I show my full emotions, you know, this is just video will get taken down. Because I remember there was one like a while ago where there was an Israeli soldier just throwing a Palestinian who was wounded off a building in the West Bank. And it's just like watching that, looking at that is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's another part that's kind of annoying about it. Like you have to watch what you say, because like in a fit of like an emotional outburst, you could say something and then, you know, your whole fucking platform's gone, especially with this topic. But it's very hard, dude. Like, you know, especially like you go on Twitter and you see like a bunch of fucking kids, dude, like mutilated. So what are you supposed to do? What's the normal response to that as a person who is not a sociopath? Like it's, you know, and then there's the people who try and, you know, tell you that, oh, why do you always talk about Palestine? Why don't you talk about X, Y, and Z? And it's like, bro, how are you deflecting so hard from what we can all very clearly see? It is a good question. I do go to the gym a lot. I play tennis a lot. That's something that's been really good, I think, for my mental space. What else do I do? I'm not a very interesting person these days. I'm just I'm reading. I'll go to the gym. I'll play tennis, and then just hang out with my girlfriend when she's off work. That's it.
What kind of stuff do you tend to read? Just like more books or like articles and stuff, or?
I like books. I'm a big book guy. I haven't been able to read much fiction lately, but my favorite author is Kurt Vonnegut.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually gonna.
Did he write Slaughterhouse?
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote Slaughterhouse 5. I'm actually gonna mention him in the next video, because I feel like one of his books. I don't want to spoil it yet, but there's one book of his that is extraordinarily applicable to the modern situation. It tells the story of a guy who is a propagandist for a genocide, but his heart's not even really in it. Like, he doesn't believe in the shit he's saying. He's just doing it because it's like his job. So it's like a piece on I guess consequentialism. Like, it's like, it doesn't really matter whether or not he cared about or believed in the shit he was saying. He did it, and nonetheless it had an effect. And I feel like there's a parallel to be drawn between that and what's happening today. Yeah. So I'm going to mention it, try to find a way to mention it in the next video.
Well, I think a lot of people are like, there are some people I've heard say like, oh, Hassan is benevolent to his audience. But Hassan clearly cares about what he's saying and feels passionately about it and is not benevolent to his audience. Yeah. But I do think, you notice certain content creators who stream all the time, who come across as fucking miserable, but just defend Israel to the fucking hilt. It's like, you're clearly not happy doing this, and you know within you that this is wrong because you see it. And like, seeking to both sides it is ridiculous. But once you've created a little fucking niche for yourself as like, I talk about Israel, but I'm like centrist on it. It's like, you can't escape that by like fully condemning Israel. You can be like, God, this bit of that Israel has done is so wrong. But you can never get out of the fact of like, actually, I knew that what it was always doing was wrong and would lead to this position, because it's a fucking...
Yeah. This is the logical outcome of a project that enshrines ethno-supremacy.
100%.
What did they think was going to happen?
And I mean, I think that that's kind of like where you just end up. Like, if you have this thing where you are just unwilling to deal with the fact that like Israel for the longest time has been incredibly racist, that it keeps electing very racist people. Like, when people dismiss Jabotinsky is his closest student was Menachem Begin. And he's actually such an influential figure in Israel, because even to Ben Gvir, because Menachem Begin, his dad was hanging out. Jabotinsky was in New York a lot in the 30s and 40s. He was always in New York, and one of the people he hung out with was Rabbi Meir Kahana and his dad Charles Kahana, and he was like, I think Kahana even played violin at how am I forgetting his name? Jabotinsky's funeral. So Jabotinsky inspired Kahana, and then he liked Menachem Begin, but then when Menachem Begin gave back some land through Camp David, and like some Israelis had to be removed from the Sinai, like all of a sudden Jabotinsky was like the best figure ever because he was dead and he couldn't cause you problems. I mean, there's a very famous quote about like why it's better to nationalize the dead because they will never change their opinions. But like, this Jabotinsky guy who people just dismiss, bro, this guy is so influential. This guy who was talking about how, the Arabs, they're indigenous, we need to get rid of them and all this shit,
Iron Wall. Yeah. Dude, I mean, I'll experience that too, where I'll bring up Jabotinsky and people will be like, oh, why do you care about Jabotinsky? Like, he's such like a marginal. He is not a marginal figure at all. Like, if Menachem Begin is his foremost predecessor, and Menachem Begin's party was what? It was Heirut originally?
Yeah, and then Likud.
And then it merges with the General Zionists, and now it's Likud. It's still, his legacy is still being acted out today. It's like the party that is in power is essentially the party inspired by him.
And has been winning pretty much every Israeli election since it existed. Like, it's like not something new at all.
Yeah.
Like this.
It's insane.
And I think it's just so hard because, you know, when people try and create this separation of like the Israel that they love and the Israel that we all need to feel a certain type of way about, it just feels so ridiculous when you look at the reality of like just a society that is so ridiculously racist.
Yeah. It's incredibly racist. Like, it's to the point, like, I don't even know what the remedy to that would be. I have no idea. Like, that is, obviously, it's something that's being taught at a very young age. It's enshrined in the educational systems. But without, like, a full revolution of what is being taught in that country, I'm sure at a loss for words.
I think it all just comes down to de-Zionization, like just the fact that the ideology is wrong, like teaching people that, hey, the prerequisite of this was exterminating a society, and you did that in 1948, and you did it before that, and it's all that this project has ever taken aim at, and all of this ideology of, well, it's about a safe haven, it's about this, it's about that for Jewish people, that has not been the consequence for its victims, no matter how lofty you make the vision of it. It's not going to change what you've done, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I've said this before, but like, how do you compromise with an ethno-supremacist ideology? You wouldn't do it for any other one. You wouldn't try and say, oh, I'm a liberal Nazi. That's insane. You would just say, okay, scrap the whole thing. But yeah, there's like, again, like, there's, you know, a lot of them good-hearted, philo-Semitic people who are, you know, kind of like the backbone to that project, to liberal Zionism. Like, they may not even understand. Because I do believe that the liberal Zionists and the left Zionists themselves, I believe that they understand what they're doing is wrong, and they're trying to hold on to it by any means necessary. But the people who are sympathetic to liberal left Zionism, I think that they're very reachable, right? Like, there are people, like, I'm pretty sure Avi Shlaim at one point, yeah, he was a two-stater at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not anymore. So, I mean, like, they are reachable.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, even in old... I think... I'm pretty sure that this was said publicly, but, like, Ilan Pape said that he has basically... He said some speech that I was at of his, that, like, now his 80-year-old father-in-law is like, maybe you were right about Zionism all along, after literally thinking that everything he said was wrong for years, saying, like, oh, you know, you're like a liar, all of this shit. And now he's just like, actually, you know what, after all this time, I think maybe it's time to say that Zionism was never right. And Tom Segev writes all about this now. Tom Segev, I think, was a bit of a two-stater, a bit of a liberal. Like, more now, he's just like, Zionism was wrong, it did not save the Jews, it is wrong to put two competing nationalisms in one land when one of them was literally brought over and cultivated by the British. Because the Zionist project gets nowhere if it wasn't for the fact, like, they could crush the Palestinians, like, with the help of the British.
Absolutely. Propped up by the British, later propped up by the U.S. But I mean, like, there was also like, there's an alternate timeline where, like, the U.S. didn't get involved and back the shit out of the Zionist project, but, like, and they could have been a force for good too. Like, you say that now and people don't, but, you know, the 56 Suez crisis, it was the U.S. that got Israel to fuck off. Like, they're the ones like, yo, stop.
Yeah, they got Israel. I mean, that was quite a major reprimand of, like, the British as well. I mean, it caused Anthony Eden, who was the British Prime Minister, to literally fucking resign over it, because it was such a significant moment of, like, you fucked up, bro. Because it was entirely just like a covert operation to try and, like, draw Egypt into a conflict, and then so they could take the Suez for the UK. It's like,
it's insane.
It's actually crazy when I actually, like, read back. Sorry, sometimes I find YouTube to be an interesting platform. I mean, TikTok is too, but I feel like you more easily see strange comments. There is someone saying that, Javal, 3 times yesterday, Jesus showed you all a vision, a prophecy, how the Omni barcode shall be enforced. Oh, fuck, I see what he's saying. He's saying something about the Holocaust, I think. Very interesting platform of just what people have to say.
Yeah, sounded like a quote, like a Bible verse.
Yeah, I mean, the one before said, hell begins today. Green Volvo, Marina Twin Towers. Anyone using the name Goop does not honor the mother or the father and is an immature, childish, arrogant reprobate. One who is like a dead frog head forcing the two fangs.
Bro, is that your chat or your YouTube comments?
This is the chat. I mean, I had someone telling me the other day that my video saying that, like, because I don't know how you feel about this. You know the thing of, like, people who are kind of, like, demonizing... well, actually, no. How do you feel about, like, this sort of thing of where people in, like, society just don't want stuff to do with Israelis? Like, when they find out someone's Israeli, they have a negative reaction to them. Like, how do you feel about that? What do you think about, like, that kind of thing, like, popping off? Or, like, growing up? Growing.
Like, again... I don't like, I mean, reflexively, like my without giving it too much thought, reflexively, my opinion on just that phenomena is that it's not good, but at the same time, it's like Israel is doing this to themselves, right? Like again, Israel and Jew is a very different thing. But again, like when I hear that someone is Israeli, I don't automatically assume, like, oh, this person's a Zionist. Like, I don't, like, even though it might be statistically likely that they are. I go in with a blank slate because I'm not going to just push my preconceived notions. But at the same time, dude, like, there needs to be something done about the fact that, what's the recent statistic? Is it, like, 82% or 79% of Israelis are, like, more or less on board with what's happening? Like, that's a cause for concern, and it has nothing to do with the fact that they're like a special group of people or that are susceptible to something that we aren't. That's not what it is. It's just, again, their material conditions have, their education systems, the lives that they've lived, has led them to those horrible, horrible opinions, and like that needs to be changed. There was a time when majority of Italians supported Mussolini. Like, if you ask me what are my thoughts on fascism, I would say I hate fascists. That would encompass the majority of Italians at one point, but it doesn't anymore. So, I guess this is like a long-winded way to say I don't like the concept of just reflexively disliking someone for something that they can't choose. But at the same time, this is entirely Israel's fault.
100%, 100%. I think, like, I agree with you, and it's kind of like why you hear these stories of people reacting to someone who's like, well, I'm from Israel, and like I'm like, oh, well, I still think that Israel is just doing the right thing in Gaza, and then people get upset with him, and they're like, people don't want to be around me, and it's always because of like political opinions. Of course, like rising just like hatred towards Jewish people is inappropriate and stuff, but like generally when you're talking about like how people react to it, it's because of fucking Israel. It's because of Israel.
Dude. If I ran into, say, like, Ilan Pape or, like, Tikva Honig Parnas, R.I.P., and, like, we spoke, I would not have a single problem if they were born in Israel. I don't give a fuck. I would think, okay, these are good people. The issue is, it's the Zionism. That's the issue. It's a political ideology. That's what I have an issue with.
100%.
Right? Like, and if I think about Germany, if I was alive in the time and I ran into a German, I would hope I would be able to maybe separate German and Nazi, but at the same time, like, that's a line that got blurred back then, and it's a line that's getting blurred today with Israel and Zionist. Like, I'm not a fan of Zionism, if you could tell, so I'm not really willing to extend much charitability, and I think, like, this might be a spicy take, but I think that, like, hyper-focusing on, like, the feelings of, like, an Israeli, I at this point in time is not very important to me. I think it's the Palestinians that I care about. It's human beings that I care about first and foremost, but Palestinians are the ones getting ethnically cleansed, genocided. So, I mean, if an Israeli gets kicked out of, like a restaurant in Thailand because they're, like, acting a fool, I don't give a flying fuck, dude. I don't care. If an Israeli is, like, on Twitter saying, hey, I'm Israeli and this is my art, and it, like, looks like shit, and they're getting roasted, I'm teaming up. I'm chiming in there. I'm retweeting.
Yeah, and I think like just something that I just feel about this is just like when I hear someone's like Israeli anxieties are produced by colonialism. They are produced like everything. They're like, I'm worried about my security. Bro, that's a product of having an occupation of other people's land. That's not a product of Palestinians' nature. But everything that a Palestinian is suffering is a product of what you are doing. Regardless of whether
Absolutely.
someone engages in militancy, they are going to be subject to the same structure of occupation, violence, and oppression. If they choose to lift their head up and protest against that, to do something against that, even if it's non-violent or like and that's the thing, it just doesn't matter what Palestinians do, and they have that right to use militant resistance in the context of an illegal military occupation of their land by a foreign power.
Absolutely. I mean, a few days ago they were trying to cancel Hassan for him saying that. He was just accurately describing the situation. He wasn't calling for any violence. He was just saying, yeah, you do a raid in illegally occupied territory. It's legal and moral for the people who are occupied to resist. That's not controversial.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, when they were talking about it today, Hila was talking about it, she was like, a bullet hit our armored car. And it's like, bro, what are you talking about?
No way.
Yeah, she was like, a bullet it hit just near my head. And it's like, I just don't get what you're saying here. Like, why I'm so like,
You're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in this land. It's not your land. It's someone else's land that you've illegally taken over. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
No, all I was going to say is that just because we're approaching the end, and I know you said you need to go, I really need to go for a pee. So shall we call it here?
Sure, bro. Yeah, for sure. If you ever want to chat again, let me know.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Yeah, dude. I'll hit you up.
Once I have my new PC as well. I mean, I definitely could do it here, but I'll work out how to like do a video, and maybe we can do like a reaction to a video together. So I mean, I think everyone here will know who you are, but if you don't, is there anything you kind of want to shout out? Like, I guess your YouTube channel, your new video is fantastic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, if you guys want to check out my videos, go and do that. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you for coming on.
Wait, are you coming? Are you gonna be in Vancouver at all?
No, unfortunately, just Quebec. Unfortunately, the whole time, really.
All right, bro. No sweat.
Right. I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you. I'm guessing speak to you later. Have a nice time. Have a good day.
Oh yeah, dude. Have a good stream. Have a good pee.
Thank you.
Peace, bro.
Perfect. Okay, guys. I am just gonna go for a pee really quickly. I'll be back like, I don't know, however long. Jump scare, testing. And there we go. And now I'm covered by the chat. Hold on. Whoa, goodness me. I hope you all enjoyed that. Sorry. Was I really loud? Trigger warning. Oh, Ethan jump scare. That's what you were all fucking talking about. Sorry, I realised I missed someone's super chat as well. AB said he's working on a video on all the people that attacked him. I wonder if I'm going to be included in that because who knows? Who knows? I don't really know what to do because I think we've kind of covered the IDF thing. We even mentioned Destiny and the youth. I mean, Destiny's just basically been accused of being a bit problematic with the youths, to put it lightly. But yeah, I thought I'll just look through, see what you all had to say. Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the stream? Did you all enjoy what was going on? If so, let me know. I think we might be having Noah on tomorrow. I don't know. I feel like it's quite nice to have people on because then it's like easier to stream for like longer and stuff. So maybe I'll start earlier tomorrow as well and cover things. But like, is there anything that you want to talk about? Ban AB from chat. Posted the Andre X report on Discord. Stream suggestions. Oh, thank you. Hold on. I shouldn't have closed fucking... that was a lovely conversation to watch. It was a great convo. Glad you guys are enjoying it. To be honest, I feel like Overzealots' girlfriend sounded sick. Like her mother being like a communist. That sounded awesome. Let me just pull up my Discord. I'm pulling up Discord, y'all. God, I closed one photo of Ethan Klein and then another photo of Ethan Klein appears. Right. So you put something in the stream suggestions. Let's have a look. If there's violence in it, I cannot show it.
Behind me is a concentration camp. It is the Ofar prison run by the Israeli military, but the word prison is inadequate for describing what it is.
Okay, let me just, I think we'll watch this. Maybe we'll close by watching this. Great chat, what an all-star lineup this week. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Don't be a creepazoid, killer. Would you ever make a Discord? I have a Discord, my friend. I also realize I'm not showing my screen, but that's because I'm just... Oh, actually, I can show my screen. Hold on. Please stop crying. Please stop crying. There we go. Right. The only reason I'm thinking I won't stream that much longer as well is because I do want to get a video... post. I guess we can summarize the Destiny allegations by looking at this beautiful tweet from wanted criminal Bad Empanada. The crimes of Destiny. One must add that I am alleging these things. I'm not alleging personally. These are just alleged things. Possession of child pornography. Distribution of child pornography. It's not looking good for bro. Attempted sex trafficking of a child. Sending pornography to a child. These are all alleged, by the way. Report him to the FBI. Listen up, Hamas. I'm a paedophile. Wow, alleged paedophile. We must add. We must add that this is all alleged. Everything here is being alleged. It is not 100% confirmed. Netanyahu says, by the way, Ethan in the Sam Cedar thing was like, I haven't seen Israel say that they don't want to do this. Netanyahu says Israel will still take over Gaza even if Hamas agrees to a ceasefire deal. If you ever needed more proof that this is about genocide and ethnic cleansing, then let it be known. This is all it is. That is all it is. You wanted me to watch Andre X, so I'll do that in a second, but I just saw Mohammed Shayade tweeting something. Muhammad. So a few days ago there was like a fucking story about how Israel was gonna there was like a thing about how Israel was gonna have like this delegation of like inviting people to come and like look at Israel and change how it is, but apparently everyone refused to come to Israel and the prestigious international competition was cancelled. The world's most prestigious harp competition was supposed to take place in December and was left almost empty with only 2 entrants. The Italian judge who was specifically invited to the Israeli competition cancelled her arrival due to international pressure. I mean, the funny thing is that, like, Israel as a state is actually becoming a pariah state. Like, I think increasingly nations will move towards it. It's just the problem is that the strongest ones at the moment, the UK and stuff, are not doing it at the moment. But, I mean, it's just a case of wait and see. Great interview with Overzealots. Thank you. I thought that was really nice. I liked having Overzealots on. And I have, like, I want Riverwand on because, especially I'm not going to lie, the last time Riverwand was on, great conversation, but I just had no idea what I was fucking doing with the thing, so we kind of fucked that up a bit. Apologies. Because Riverwand was having to look at me via the stream, and, like, you guys were seeing it at delay.
But
okay, so let's just have a look about Andre X.
Behind me is a concentration camp. It is the Ofar prison run by the Israeli military, but the word prison is inadequate for describing what it is, and if you bear with me a moment, I will explain why. Concentration camps have been used by colonial entities for centuries. In the United States, they used them for Native Americans, the British constructed them in South
Didn't they also use a similar thing for Japanese people?
South Africa, and Germany constructed them in Namibia long before they constructed them in Europe. A concentration camp is a place where a large number of inmates, usually political prisoners or persecuted minorities, are held against their will, usually in horrible conditions. Sometimes they're turned into death camps and the inmates are exterminated, but concentration camps and death camps are not the same thing. Ofar prison is ethnicity-based. It only houses Palestinians, and many of them are held in so-called administrative detention, which essentially means that they've been kidnapped by...
This is also the crazy thing. Anyone justifying this, most Palestinians are held via administrative detention, and many Palestinians are arrested for protesting and things like that. So when someone's like trying to justify this, it's crap.
The army, and they're held with no charges and with no access to lawyers. Some of the detainees are children, and many of them are kidnapped for no reason at all other than just to intimidate and to apply pressure, to essentially use them as hostages. The conditions of the camp amount to torture, according to human rights advocates.
I think that's a really interesting way of framing it, and I think it's true, because the way in which he's talking about it is that basically, you know, that they are, like, doing this in a sense or a way because they are wanting to, like, terrify Palestinians into not resisting. And also, like, on the Japanese... Did you know after Pearl Harbor, like, Americans were really genocidal? Let me see if I can find this, because I think it's in Norman Finkelstein. 100% is. Oh, shit. Fuck. I just realised something. My access to things was closed yesterday, but it's fine. I'll find a way. I've still got it. I've still got it, baby. I think it's in this article. The sweet taste of revenge is not the most elevated of human sensibilities. It is also not a uniquely Palestinian one. To the Japanese, Japan's surprise attack provoked a rage bordering on genocidal. Thus, Admiral Halsey, soon to become commander of the South Pacific, vowed after Pearl Harbor that by the end of the war, Japanese would be spoken only in hell, and rallied his men thereafter under such slogans as... I don't think I can read that out. I feel like that is pretty fucking insane, so I'm not going to be reading this out. I'm not going to be reading this slogan out, but you can see it. I guess I could read it out as kill Japanese, kill Japanese, kill more Japanese. But yeah, I mean, fucking crazy.
And there have been cases of people being tortured to death. Earlier this year, a Palestinian teenager, after spending 6 months in another concentration camp with no charges, was found dead with signs of starvation. There are way too many horrifying examples to list, but I strongly recommend that you read the Plus 972 investigation about this. And prisons in general are horrifying places that shouldn't exist, but this is something else.
Andre doesn't follow me on anything, but maybe he would be a cool person to get on, but I don't know how risky that would be for him.
This is more than just a prison.
Okay, guys, right. I think I'm going to call it there, because I'm going to try and do some work on my script now for a bit. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the Overzealots thing. I'll keep you updated about Noah and tomorrow. And hopefully we'll have him on. And I might even upload a clip of the Overzealots thing, because I thought that was a really good live. But yeah, thank you for all coming on, and thank you for all of your support. On my script now for a bit. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the Overzealots thing. I'll keep you updated about Noah and tomorrow. and hopefully we'll have him on. And I might even upload a clip of the Overzealots thing, because I thought that was a really good live. But yeah, thank you for all coming on, and thank you for all of your support.